Hey, dude, I'm just opening. I'm sorry, I'm busy fucking looking at my phone. Hey everybody, it's Plat Valorant, episode 111, and we've got a special guest in the building. It's Seth,
my God.
Achilleos Casts. Yeah. Hi, Seth.
No, it's Seth Casts now.
Seth Casts now, yeah.
This is what I go by, so.
Oh, you dropped.
Yeah.
Wait,
Where's this joke
Let me
come
change
from?
your handle.
what is? You dropped the. What's going on here? You dropped
Say
the
that one
Achilleos?
more time, because I had the YouTube video open, and then it just started. all the audio came, and I was hearing everybody in duplicate, and I was just like, "What is happening?"
Wait, you dropping the Achilleos, or is this just a little a light?
No,
joke?
it's just it's a light joke.
Okay, this guy's acting a goddamn fool already. We're
We are
30 seconds in.
Achilleos is here to stay.
Yeah.
You just got rolled. Dude, Connor, what are you doing? You fucking chewing over there like a squirrel? Couple acorns?
Every time we schedule Plat chat, it's right at lunchtime, so I gotta like eat.
Yep, this is definitely lunchtime for me.
What time
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
not for you.
Like 2:30 a.m.
2:16 a.m.
Yeah.
Depends. You work third shift occasionally, right? In esports, you know, you got to be up late. So,
true.
you know, sometimes you have your lunch at a nice 4 a.m. I remember when I would do the Korea cast with NA, I'd be eating like at like 4 a.m. sometimes.
Yeah, that's healthy.
3 a.m.
Connor, I think they upgraded your
I've been up since 9. I think I slept for 3 hours because I actually got hit with a bit of jet lag because I just got back from New Jersey, and I woke up at like 9 a.m. and didn't eat until 10 p.m. My dad and I had just recently gone out to actually have some food, and now here we are.
Wow.
Dude, wait. Were you in the Newark airport?
No, fuck no.
Okay. I was about to say, I'm so sorry. Connor, did they fucking upgrade your room again? What's going on? Because I swear, last time we were here, I didn't see the lamp and I didn't see the little foliage in the background. I think he's...
Well, the biggest difference is that I'm utilizing the camera that's in the room, while before I would hooked up 2 copper wires to a lens frame, and that was my camera before. So
I appreciate...
I'm using a real camera now. I actually now this camera looks really nice. I kind of get why people use the nice cameras.
What do you mean? What have you been using?
Well, it was just a webcam.
At home.
Yeah, that's why I use it at home too.
Logitech
I mean,
C920.
Listen, the C922 goes a long way. Trust me, you get a lot of mileage out of that bad
It
boy.
does.
But I
Place to start.
listen. I dropped the bag on a camera, and I don't get that much usage out of it. It's just a camera, but it's nice to have, and I write it off of my taxes. So.
Yeah, you bought a streaming backpack too on
Yeah, I
impulse,
did.
didn't you? Because you're going to Seth's wedding.
Yeah.
And your intention is to profit.
Yeah, I'm
off
not
of
going
the
to tell
wedding
Seth.
by
I'm just
live
going to stream
streaming.
your wedding, Seth.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to have
know what?
text to speech
I'm
on
gonna
during the
allow it.
ceremony.
I'm happy that you're gonna be there. Unlike Super. I'm still
Yeah.
still beefing.
Wait,
beefing.
Super didn't want to go?
Sucks. Yeah, he doesn't want. He's entered his late stage streamer life cycle.
Dude,
where
the guy should
late
just
stage
fucking buy a streamer backpack like me.
No, because he's a late stage streamer life cycle. He's hit his pupae, he's gone out, his metamorphosis complete. Now he will never leave his house for the rest of his life. He's never going to leave his house for the rest of his life. He's found a nice girl to settle down with, and he's just going to turn to ooze in his chair, and he's never going
It's
to get
hit
up.
that point where if he wants to leave his house, he needs to get a pickaxe and like excavate his way out of all of the Diet Coke cans and McDonald's bags and whatnot. So it's just not worth the effort for him to even remotely try to come to the wedding.
That's
understandable.
Landfill's worth of Uber Eats, just fucking McDonald's bags. Okay.
No,
Maybe
he
you
likes
could
Arby's, so
Wait,
Yeah,
what did you just say?
Yeah.
he likes Arby's.
Arby's.
Likes
He's
the
like a big
meats.
Arby's fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's an Arby's guy.
Who, dude? Who? I mean, Kurt, can we new segment? Can you get up a fast food tier list? This is a new segment. This is more captivating content. And then after that, we're going to talk about what's been happening on live stream
Valorant.
fail this week, and then we'll talk about Valorant, and then we'll talk about Valorant.
Nice.
New show
We're
plan.
becoming a really general podcast. Just
Listen.
about gaming culture. We're gonna actually rebrand ourselves as G4.
It's time to. Is
No,
it
we can't be
available?
G4. We have to be G5. We gotta be the next
sorry,
one.
G5.
God damn it. Okay. The premiere alpha test. It's coming next week. Valorant. If Ball were here, he'd be absolutely busting right
I'll
now.
fucking bust on
because-
Baller's behalf.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, I'm glad you finished that. It's good.
Jesus Christ Almighty! Announcing Valorant's premiere alpha test. Hey everyone, I'm John Walker.
Dude, I thought that was a fake name. I saw it, and I thought he was about to say, I'm John Premier.
Yeah, dude, that
Here
sounds
we
like
are.
the fucking new Overwatch hero, and it's Cassidy's brother. Okay, a designer on the Valorant competitive team, evidently. You might remember that earlier this year. I don't know,
Yeah,
because dude, let me read.
I can give you the cliff notes if you want.
We could just go down to the bold text.
Yeah.
Dude, we're not
I
supposed
really
to
like
read
the
here.
bold
We're
text.
supposed to react.
It's
All right,
releasing
we'll
in
react
Brazil.
to this. Dude.
Sorry.
Okay, guys, get ready to react. Can you pull it back up, Kurt? Next week, the competitive team is delivering the alpha version of this feature into the hands of an initial group of players called Premiere. React.
Whoa!
Thank you.
I thought I was going to say an initial group of players called Brazil.
And also, yeah, I thought I was going to say that too, because it's coming out in only Brazil for this
Yeah.
alpha test initially, correct?
Yeah.
And this is the feature game mode that Bala, among many others, have been waiting for a long time, which is the in-game tournament system, where you can play in-game tournaments with a 5-stack of your friends. Now, I like this too, because you know this, Brent. I like playing in 5 stacks.
Yeah.
I don't like playing with randoms. I like to play with my friends and known quantities. So I like this too. Yeah, so you can build a team, compete across a season of pre-scheduled matches. That's pretty cool. There's also some neat features like they're gonna have some kind of in-game like logo creation, and
There it is.
You can, we can
Team creation.
Yep. We can do it city-based. We can be the Austin Podcasters. That'll be a fire name. So there's team creation. There's server load. I don't know what that means. Tournament play, including a map pick and ban system in the game. Premier score and qualifying for the end of season tournament. Matchmaking. Queue health throughout the alpha. The general bugs.
I mean, to just explain what they're testing, not the features.
Yeah,
We're just gonna
I was
do
going
general
to say, I was like, why is
Oh,
server
bugs,
load
great.
a feature?
It's pretty
I
cool,
would
though.
assume that they just mean that. Does that mean like server select, or what the hell does that mean?
It just means that they want to make sure that they can flood the competitive server with X amount of people in a region and make sure that the whole system doesn't crash.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Something that Blizzard does not do ahead of any World of Warcraft launch.
Well, you know what? That one's. We don't take too many pot shots at you, Blizzard, but we've taken you down a notch now. We're taking you down a notch now.
Oh, Christ. And then, yeah, this like map pick ban whole thing, it looks pretty sweet. I like that. I like
This
that
is
a
going
lot.
to be dope.
gonna be
honestly, I'm so excited for this to actually fully release as well. I didn't think it would be coming this soon because I think the last news we heard about this was that they were like, we may be working on it, but we don't know. It
Yeah.
was like up in the air, but
Yeah, no, they're definitely working on it, and it's coming soon.
Isn't
which
their
is,
goal to build like a wider circuit within game, sort of like how Fortnite did with
yeah,
their
it's supposed to be
in-game tournaments?
It's supposed to be like the tier 3 level where people will qualify using the in-game system to get into tier 2 for the partnerships next
yeah,
year, like
incredible.
where you have partnerships at the tippity top, the pyramid. I remember the pyramid,
Yep.
the pyramid scheme that they were showing me, pyramid, and then there's tier 1 partnerships, and then tier 2, the thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's
know what I'm
good.
talking
That's
about.
good. Yeah, I get what you're going for there. I mean, overall, this is exactly pretty much what you want out of a modern competitive system.
Yeah.
Is the best way to integrate it is like you don't want to have to. Honestly, I know there's a bunch of people about to 34-year-old men they're about to maul about what I'm about to say, but sadly, ESEA and like FPL and shit, like having to go to like a third-party client, and then they crash your GPU by Bitcoin mining, and then you have to put in all this other stuff and play in a queue. Like, it's just not going to be good. Like, it's better to have it in game in a flawless system, and then once you get to a higher level, that's when you can start like, letting orgs and third parties like take over. You want your in-game client and your overall ranked experience to like be the funnel to just like whoop people over to that level. So it's good idea.
Did that happen again? the Bitcoin mining thing, or is that like the old reference?
No,
to
I'm still
ESEA?
referencing. That's why I said I was only
Okay.
going to piss off 34-year-old men with that
I
one.
see.
Did that guy
I
get
see.
to keep his
the fragile is crying in his
Yeah.
chair? I guess I was gonna say.
Dude, if that guy kept his Bitcoin, that was in like 2014.
Yeah,
if he kept it. He's
eating
fucking
good. He's on a
rich.
fucking super yacht right now. He's
Yeah.
on a super yacht
All
right
from-
now.
Dude,
Well, it
that
depends on
man
what, it
was
depends on what he's
Jeff
selling. He
Bezos.
sold it, right?
What?
I guess it's still worth a lot. I guess. What's the current price? Yo, guys, let's become a crypto podcast. What's the current cost of Bitcoin? Oh, it's still pretty high. Okay, so
Is
yeah.
now the time to buy?
Now might be the time to buy. Dude, market indicators. Look at that. Market indicators. I'll ask my crypto neighbor. You know, my neighbor, he actually knows. He's been on my feed recently. He's been talking about some coins. And
Do you
so,
remember?
you know,
Sorry, do you remember when we were in Istanbul airport queuing up to get into the country, and that guy's shirt?
You were the
remember?
only person that was there because I wasn't with you. Or I guess maybe Kurt was with you.
Kurt was with me.
Yeah. He had a Bitcoin shirt on.
It was like the most bizarre. Like, was it like it was like the
Like a
American
fandom
flag and
shirt?
the eagle and like Bitcoin?
Yeah, but it was like a gamer jersey type fabric.
It was so weird.
so it was like a Bitcoin like jersey. Like he was like Team Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I mean that's like
Yeah.
the that makes sense. I mean there's did I tell you about the guy that applied to Misfits and he said he orange pilled his company in his resume?
He
Did I
was.
tell you about that? He orange pilled his company. He said like as part of his resume, like his skill set was that he orange pilled his company. I had to look what this. I didn't even know what this meant. I had to go look it up. Orange pilled means that you introduce someone to Bitcoin.
This is beyond my realm of knowledge.
Yeah. So essentially,
learning
in his
things I didn't
resume,
need to know.
like in his qualifications, by the way, he's like proficient in Microsoft Excel. Orange pilled my company, and he, he like literally put that in the resume. And like me and the
I imagine that
I'm
would
just like, what's
bang.
going on here?
That would bang in the right demographics if you're handing your CV in. Like a
The
company full of
Matrix
just
would have been a much shittier film if Morpheus was like, you take the red pill and you take the blue pill, and if you take the orange pill, you can make some sick fucking gains. Like, I hate
And
this.
this is to introduce our new crypto sponsor, Coinbase. Coinbase, thank you so much for
FTX is bot Plat chat. Perfect.
yeah, it's time to move on.
Okay, let's go. Let's move forward.
Vast, this will excite you. This will excite you even more than the bear market. It is Keznit joining Leviatán. I knew that would get you excited. How do you feel about this, Connor? How does this make
that's
you
actually
feel
kind of
inside?
That actually makes me pog out of control, especially because I didn't actually like when we did our rankings. The Leviatán roster was like it looked interesting, but the idea, you know, remember I said the idea wasn't there with Keznit? Perhaps the idea is there. Perhaps it's possible because with Keznit, this man, he's a fucking freak. So, and also, you know, he's had some questionable views on other people's in the past. So, you know, that's also a thing. But I think was that him or Nags? Actually, I might be misrepresenting. I can't remember.
that
who
was
said
him.
the.
That was good.
That was it. Yeah, that was Keznit. So, you know, maybe freak in multiple ways. But either way, the point being is that like he's a very good player, and I'm excited. That makes this. I think this makes this project a lot more like I'm actually. This project has more potential now, obviously, with him involved. So.
That's an can you save that and send that to me? That's a great image.
I keep seeing that on TikTok. I don't know what it is, what it relates to.
It's a
but
good
it's
image.
just- yeah.
I want to kind of harken back to last week when we were doing buy or sell. I believe it was
I can tell
Paula, Connor, and myself
Yeah.
all said sell Leviatán. Now, I'm going to keep it a stack. I think I part of the reason I did that was because there were so many good teams seemingly in the NA region that I'm like, I can't invest in everything. But then after seeing every kind of globally and looking at Europe, I could allocate some of my assets, more of them towards America.
Oh.
And even without Keznit, with or without, I look back at this roster, I'm like, why the fuck did I say sell on that?
Well,
Because this roster's kind of fire.
because it's the smokes question, no?
Yeah. Also, I mean,
sorry,
the roster's good, but it's like, does it really stack up that well when you think about like the other Americas teams? I think they have good firepower. I think with Keznit now it does. Firepower.
Well, apparently Keznit might not even be full time.
Yeah, it might be the sixth man.
People,
a sixth
I know
man?
people were saying that he might just be the sixth man and that's it. But I can't really see that being a reality because Keznit is a really good player.
Yeah.
And the more I thought about the smokes dilemma, the smoke question, the more I just think actually it probably makes sense to who the hell is the Sentinel secondary smoke? Is it King on this team? Am I crazy? I think it's King.
It would probably be King.
I
I mean, no, King. I mean, he played some Viper.
Yeah,
but
I think
don't know.
it's King, right? So I think it would probably be King
Probably King.
transitioning over to smokes for them, and I don't know how else the roles will move around, but I'm still pretty high up on the roster. If they I don't know. There's a big lack in supportive the quote unquote support players in terms of just quality controller players, quality sentinel players who play stuff outside of chamber. So it's only going to be natural that some teams are going to have to transition players that otherwise wouldn't be on that role as we head into partnerships. And so, I mean, the most likely candidate is probably King in my mind. And I would still be high up on this roster if that was the case, especially with Keznit coming in as a bit of a backup as a sixth man because the guy is really, really cracked. So you've got really great firepower. The whole team as well. Leviatán, part of what made them so good was I think they're just overall team play and they're keeping a majority of the core of that team together. So they should still be a pretty, I think, a top contender as we head into the Americas.
Do you regret selling, Connor? Are you now buying?
I actually, so I'm gonna be honest. I think we all I think I got consumed in the market of selling and buying overall. Like just the numbers were whirling about my head, and like realistically, I'm looking at the roster now because the smokes thing was a thing. I was like, okay, like they have smokes, but like when you had like Taco, Mazzino, and Shy, like those were all like great players that had a good run at champs, like and then King as well. Like I was just worried about like I didn't really know what like. How do you say it? It's like Nazwa? I didn't really know like how he was really gonna like fit into this roster, like where he adds necessarily for them. When I don't know, I just was feeling meh about the overall project. Something about Keznit being attached now makes me like okay, wait, I'm seeing something here because I really do think like Mazzino and Taco are like in particular are like not to bring the rest down, but I've always think both those players have been really really good. They've been debuting at like tier 1, but. I don't know. I'm still like lukewarm, tepid, but I'm just gonna say they're on my watch list. They're on my watch list, like Bitcoin. They're on my watch list right now.
Seth, would you invest in this roster?
I mean, if I had owned them, this would kind of be the point where I would sell, right? Because like with Keznit joining, those stocks are rising, and I should sell high and then buy low. Right?
That makes too much sense.
I should be offloading it.
But you haven't already invested, no?
True. Honestly, I would buy. I could see like just taking like a cursory glance at like the rosters that are together in the the North American or just the American League. Like I feel like this team could actually kind of pound because they have surprised me in their international debuts and appearances throughout last year. I think that with Keznit joining the team, there's just so much more firepower. They're already a really scary team. I think if they could find consistency, I think are pretty easily into like the top 4. I think top 5 is guaranteed, but I think they could definitely crack top 4.
Damn.
Okay.
That is a strong claim, but I like it.
I mean, obviously, I still need to see how other teams are going to develop, but from what the information that I have right now, that's what I'm putting together.
Yeah. I'll add real quick as well with this Leviatán squad. I think I didn't really consider this until recently, but every single game in partnership system next year is going to be played on LAN, which is a big shift away from the predominantly online era that we've been in. But if you think about it, we're heading to Sao Paulo, we're heading to the splits, the Americas, EMEA, APAC splits, which is all going to be in a studio, presumably. And then you have Masters 1, LCQ, and Champs. I don't think LCQ... I'm assuming that they want everything played on LAN. I don't think there's been necessarily confirmation of that, but it sounds like the teams are all going to have to live in the centralized cities, and they're going to be playing out of a studio. So that it's probably going to be on LAN.
That's what I've heard.
Shy had some ups and downs when he was playing on at LAN. Comparative to his online performances as a player, definitely, I mean, he had some really high peaks when he was playing there, but I hope that the kind of partnership system, because there's going to be so many matches played for these teams. I hope that he develops over the next year as a player, because he's still pretty young. I think he was considering retirement at a certain point as well, but he's a fantastic player as well for someone so young. And this kind of year is one of those years where, for players like him, where they don't have that experience, you can really form superstar players, I think, over the course of like 2023 now, especially as they just start to gather up the experience that otherwise might have been missing.
Yeah, for sure. Another team that announced their 6 players, Paper Rex. We have not talked much at all about them because there's not been much at all to talk about. They have not changed any of their core 5. They're just heading into next year with the same guys. But as per the rules, you need a 6th man. So they have signed Cigarettes as their 6th man, who, as far as what I've seen, is just a giga content creator that's also played some recorded matches on VLR and has some competitive experience. Dude, that's fucking awesome. I love the Sony Vegas TV lines effect. That's a classic. That is a classic. But yeah, so a player with some competitive experience that also seems to be filling that like a content creator kind of role with the squad. But what are your thoughts?
I think this makes a ton of sense as you head into, like, a lot of these teams. I thought more teams would go down this route of getting big content creators in as their 6th player who have like a little bit of former experience, like being a pro player. So if you need a sub, if you need them to play, they can play, and they'll be serviceable. But they actually are providing value on your roster outside of it, because I think a lot of teams will not be able to manage 6 players effectively in terms of subbing in players on a regular basis. It's just going to be very difficult for them to do. I'm not going to say every team won't be able to do it, but it's going to be really hard to do. So I think the next step in that makes sense is getting content creators, because they're still going to be giving you value to your org, and you're still getting a fan base, and they're still going to be valuable in case they actually do need to play on the very, very off chance that they do. So yeah, I think this makes sense. I'm surprised that more teams are not going to be doing this.
Well, I think it's like an interesting method though, because like if you really want a content creator, theoretically, you can just sign them to your organization without them being on your roster.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where like, if you're going to commit to the 6th player because you have to have one, you need to pick a content creator that you feel confident that, like, if you ever have to sub them, theoretically you could, or they do another emergency sub, because otherwise you're kind of like, if you're having the 6-man roster and you're needing to assign an emergency sub, that's a lot of extra work and like hassle, versus like you have to be extremely confident that if you need to have a sub, this person can play. So it's kind of a difference in philosophy, because I don't know, like, what is his usual, like, is he sitting at like that high ranked, like in terms of like radiant status in?
I mean, he played in
SEA?
2021.
He competed a bit.
He competed a bit.
He's got he's got games on record.
They definitely, at least.
I thought it was like a very limited history with him.
It is limited.
It's-
Yeah.
Based
It's
on
like
their
less
YouTube
than
titles,
20
they're
games.
radiant.
Yeah.
So,
But I think a lot of teams are going down this route, except that they're signing players who have the same tenure as players like Cigarettes, except they don't have the content creation backing. Because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of teams, there's not a lot of players, if they want to compete, are going to want to sign onto a roster as a 6th man, knowing that they're not going to get much playtime. Unless they know that, unless they're being told they're going to get playtime, chances are that role is just going to be filled up by a player who otherwise was on the way out anyway and didn't want to compete as much. Not the case across the board, but I think if you are just going to be sticking with a core 5, this makes sense.
No, it does. It does make sense. It's more so just like how you want to build your roster, like, right? Like, it's just that's the only thing. But absolutely, if you're like perfectly confident, like, we're just sticking with this, then yeah, I think it's a great solution. It's an absolutely perfect solution for like what you need to do with your roster. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. And the reality is, with the current esports market in general, though, I think Valorant's done a good job promoting this. Like, you need influencers attached to get your numbers up, So, and he's got good numbers. So,
yeah.
No, is that Naruto?
Yeah,
it is.
there's a bunch of. He's an airline pilot. This guy does everything.
Wow.
Oh, no, he's a naval commander. That's World of Warships gameplay. But no, I mean, I agree. I think that I was actually more surprised that all of PRX stayed together, honestly, because there was a lot of rumor mill nonsense going on, now nonsense, I guess, about, this person's going to leave and this guy's trying to go to this region, and yada, yada, yada. And to see all 5 of them just like stick together throughout 2023 is amazing. So that's really exciting. So I'm in full agreement with Brent. I think if you have the utmost confidence, which you should, in that 5-man squad. Granted, yes, they didn't have a great champions performance, but they had otherwise a really great year. Why not just sign this huge name, this guy who's basically, the shroud of his region and whatnot? And then if you need to have that emergency sub, you just pull the Sentinels, you put the shroud guy in, and then you just hope for the best. But
Yeah.
I think that them being able to keep that core 5 together is really instrumental to their success going into the next season.
So you're satisfied with this Paper X offseason then, Seth, overall?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think that they just had a really down event after a super high, leading into champions and whatnot. It did feel like a little bit of a crash and burn. But I think that, we've obviously seen the potential of all of those players, and it just they weren't quite hitting their stride at champions. I don't think that is a roster that you need to make swooping adjustments on in order to try to right the ship. I think you just need to, I don't know, just have a little bit of a break and then just get ready for a great season. So I have the utmost confidence in them being able to bounce back after champions.
I pose the same question to you guys, Brennan Connor. Are you satisfied with this Paper X off season?
I'll go first because Brennan, he's on his phone because kids these days can't get off.
I'm pulling up my notes.
You're watching TikToks. I can see it.
His notes are saved in TikToks.
I tend to agree with Seth in that the fact that like this roster, they have so much potential still that like champions did not feel like they had hit. They really fulfilled their potential that the roster had that we've seen from them in the past. And overall, like they have an insanely strong following with the current core too, which is valuable as an organization. Like Paper X, like the fans really, I think, associate with this team right now and with the squad. And there is value to that on top of that and maintaining the synergy. So I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping this current core with them currently. I'm just more interested to see like if it were to happen where someone gets sick, it's like I would like what if Cigarettes just hops on in the server? I think it would just be an interesting experiment.
Here's a question, if I could. It feels weird having a player named Cigarettes. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. What are the odds that like Riot's like you need to do something about that? Can you alter it?
Are they going to ask for player name changes? Is that anything? Has anyone heard anything about that? Because I don't think anyone has anything that's like.
It's like abbreviated to
cigars.
Cigars.
Cigars or cigarettes. It could be cougars. It could be cougars too.
Yeah. We know that you have millions of fans across your platforms, but could you name change?
Yeah, I don't think they'll ask for that, but I am very happy that Paper X is staying together. I think it makes a ton of sense, and honestly, you have a big advantage, I think, heading into APAC next year if you keep a core 5, because there's so many teams that are making new rosters, new mixtures of rosters, that it's just inevitable that there's going to be, it doesn't matter if the max potential of those teams is going to be higher than maybe an existing roster like Paper X. The synergy that Paper X have from playing together for such a long time is going to go such a long way early on in Sao Paulo and onwards. The fact that they've stick together now as a core of 5, because they don't have to catch up in terms of building up synergy. They can build upon previous stuff. I think their downfall in champs was more or less off the back of they didn't have a lot of time to prep. They're a very unique team where they come out with specific stuff. I'm thinking like the Eurobind stuff or like some very crazy shit, and it's counterable if you see it too many times. And they didn't really have a lot of time from Copenhagen to champs to cook up anything new in that regard when it comes to the strats. So I think that was more in line with their downfall as opposed to like player quality going down the drain or anything else like that. But yeah, I'm glad. I think they've got a big edge as we head into 2023.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Fellas, it's time to fucking bat. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're getting the TenZ puzzle? We never completed
there it is.
that.
We didn't finish that.
We were never able to
it's
finish that.
It's quite
yeah,
hard.
it was also just
it was
overpriced, a terrible puzzle.
I thought you had like a TenZ like 80s style lunchbox, and I thought that was actually cool.
No, that would be cool. No, we got something so much worse than what you could have imagined.
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle that
How
we
many
just
pieces
couldn't
is it?
solve.
500 pieces.
It was so difficult.
You could
Yeah.
solve a 500-piece puzzle.
It's because like 2/3 of it is just black background,
it's just
and you're trying to like fit that together.
And the cut of the pieces, all of them were similar, but like just the absolute slight, like 100th of an inch cut difference, or it wouldn't fit.
I would
But they
also
all look
say
the
like
same.
if whatever factory is making that, if they're they need to be, if they're making anything else that requires precision, I would not buy any of their products. Like if they're making like airplane parts or something, like I need to know. I need to know like right
don't
now.
fly Air Redbubble. That plane is fucking going down. Do not fly on the
Boeing side
Redbubble
hustles
private
making
jet.
puzzles.
God damn it. There's a 1,000-piece one as well.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
it's on
just
sale. That's nice.
It's just bigger.
they just print it right on like a puzzle set
They just print it on a
and then cut it out.
and cut. Yeah.
On puzzle paper, I think is the official term.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Okay. Will TenZ be a top 3 duelist next year? And the reason that, and this part of the reason this is being posed is because fucking plug. I did an interview with Psycho, the new coach of Sentinels, which is up on YouTube now. Where he look at his little, he's so happy. Where he talked a lot about Sentinels and forming this new roster. If you want to get the link for that, to my Twitter bio, it's on YouTube and Spotify. Plug. But Psycho was talking about TenZ, and specifically, in a clip, he was talking about the first thing that TenZ said to him when he hopped on a call with him, was that TenZ immediately said, paraphrasing here, but off the jump, that the public perception of me is very off. I really do want to compete. I want to win. I wasn't satisfied with what happened with the previous roster, and essentially that he wants to give it his all, be a competitor, wants to win. So from that, for this topic, just kind of posing the question, can TenZ be a top 3 duelist next year? Can he be among the elite tier of duelists? In that same caliber that we kind of saw in 2021. Seth, you have your hand raised. Yeah, Seth.
I had a
Achilles?
question. I had a question for so Mr. Wyatt. Is there any caveats to this? Is this top 3 period? Top 3 in NA? What are we talking here? What are the stakes?
I'm talking. We can start broad, and then maybe we can work our way down from there, depending on what's said. But let's just start broad. Top 3 duelist next year. Period. Put a stamp on it. I mean, because that was the case in 2021. I mean, there was a time where he was undisputed number 1. So this is just in general. Could TenZ be a top 3 duelist next year? Brent, I'm going to start with you. What do you think?
Globally, no. I think there's too much competition, but I think I like the question because I think you'll see an uptick in the TenZ potential. You know what I mean? I think you'll see an uptick in his performance individually, because I was on the episode last week when you were kind of talking about it. But for the longest time, Sentinels operated off of, I mean, not just they're a very improv-y team. Playing off of one another early on. That was where the success was, and until structure got developed in a lot of other teams, that was when you started to see the downfall of Sentinels, because they couldn't quite play the same way, and they were relying more and more on TenZ to just have a monster game and drop 40 to try and win maps sometimes, not all the time. But the best we saw of Sentinels, I thought, recently was, off the back of when they made those changes at the tail end of, LCQ, and they looked like they were on an upward trajectory, but they just didn't have enough time. They didn't have time to work with the team that they brought together. But what that proved to me was that TenZ actually just needed a good system to work in. And if you give him a proper system where he's being set up and supported, and you've got teammates actually helping to enable TenZ instead of him just being left on an island, I think this guy still has the potential to be a top duelist. I'm not going to say top 3 in the world, because that's really heavy competition. But definitely the potential is there, I think, for him to have a bit of a resurgence as we head into next year.
Okay, that's fair. Connor?
I mean, I think globally it's just not possible at this point for him to like definitively. It's not like I don't think he could ever not have a return to form, right? But like that the early era of Valorant is like done right now, and there's so many good players globally like next year. I mean, even if there's just I can't think of, like, obviously there are players that he could compete with, but I just even if we were just talking about our previous two teams like PaperX and Leviatán, like you can make the argument that several of those players on that team obviously have been far better duelists than TenZ, right? And no one's even, I don't think anyone's considering walking into next year being like, oh, Leviatán is like going to be the global powerhouse of Valorant necessarily, right? In terms of like just their actual performances on LAN recently, because TenZ literally hasn't been at LAN recently for like in the big events. So, and it's not that TenZ is a bad player and that his potential is low. It's just that I feel like we've seen this story before. And to me, this is a year of like, is TenZ capable of still competing and like being the best? And like, it's clear that based off the interview you talked about, Wyatt, that he wants to be still. He wants to prove that he can be. So the desire's there, which I think is half the battle for a lot of those players that start out as stars in early portions of every game. Because a lot of times players start out as stars and they get brought onto rosters. They get brought because of like previous connections or previous competitive experience. And like they're good, but they're not necessarily great, especially as new talent emerges. But TenZ clearly had, like, not only did he have mechanics, but he has a desire to continue to compete, which a lot of times these stars, I think, lose as the game goes from its infancy to its more mature stage. And if he actually is willing to grind and like put in the hours again and really reflect, then I don't think it's impossible for him to get back into form to where we're talking about his name amongst the best. It's just right now it seems like it doesn't seem like we can really put him in the conversation for like a top 3 global duelist position.
Okay, that's fair. Seth, do you echo the same sentiment?
Yep, but I also just don't think he'll be top 3 in NA either.
Okay, well, that's where I was going to head next. You don't think he'll be top 3 in NA either? I mean, to be let's have that conversation then, because I'm trying to think of some of the other names that you obviously had up there. I mean, you got like Ye, Ospas, and I'm drawing a blank.
Keznit, I guess.
I mean, you can literally get like Buzz, throw Buzz in that mix.
We're talking about
NA.
North America. I didn't listen to you. I didn't listen to you at all. My phone. I was looking at my phone.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I need visualization.
Yeah, otherwise
I need stimulus.
Zekin. I mean, even on the same team. If you count that, I guess as duelist, but it's not entirely the same role. But
Artist, if the rumors are correct.
Yeah. Artist.
Artist.
But I mean, that's kind of,
we've named a lot.
Those are all. It's a lot of the top guys.
It's like it's such hard competition, I think, to try and even make it into the top 3, arguably. But I still think he's capable of doing it in the Americas. Sentinels looks like they're actually building a very, very good team, and they've got good ideas of how they want to build it. And for the first time in a long time, TenZ is going to be supported. I mean, just to echo your point, Connor, it's half the battle is having that passion to still compete and be at the top level, which TenZ still has, which is I think one of the first steps you need, and then the second point is actually being supported properly, which he is. So yeah, I think time will tell, but the potential's there for him to be top 3 in NA, without a doubt in my mind. Top 3 globally might be a little bit of a harder ask, but yeah.
I mean, look, if he can make that happen, then good Lord, what a run back that'll be. I should caveat what I said before. Like, I think that there's so many good players in NA, and that maybe I'm just being, a little bit like biased because of recency with TenZ. I know that he has the potential. I know that this guy he's absolutely insane. He's like the best player in the world on the right day when he's popping off. I just haven't seen that consistency. If Sentinels with the rebuild, with Adam Driver coming in to coach him, if that can work and that makes him into a consistent monster of a player who's got a deeper pool than basically like just Jet Chamber, like if he can get his raise up to par and he can have a bit more flexibility, then yeah, he could take over the whole damn region. I just, obviously across the course of the last season, haven't been able to see that. So I'm not fully a believer, but I would love to be proven wrong.
All right, let's get into the buy or sell for the APAC region. We buying, we selling. Let's see what's up. Honestly, I'm liking the overall, I got to say, I'm liking the crop of the teams that I'm seeing for the most part. For the most part, listen, there are a couple that are less interesting, perhaps, than others. But
I made notes.
you got your notebook ready?
Yeah.
Dude,
I
you're so
made
you're so studious, friend.
I made notes.
All right, let's get this goddamn thing started. We're starting with All Reliable. You know them. You love
There
them.
they are.
They're the division, the Zeta division. And they've got the same squad. 10, Dep, Crow, Sugar Zero, Laz, actual fucking demon god Laz. Zeta division, buy or sell. They have not changed any of their core roster heading into this next year. Does that inspire confidence? Does that make you worried? Bren?
You know,
What do the notes say?
I was a bit iffy, on Zeta division. They're sticking to the core 5. Actually gives them a couple of points, I think, heading into next year. You don't have to rebuild the synergy. But the 6th man that's rumored to be joining this team in the form of Bas, the Brimstone Specialist.
No fucking way.
Got me so fucking
Are you
hyped.
serious?
Yes, I'm serious. I'm pretty
no
sure
fucking
Bas
way.
is coming in, the fucking Brimstone Split Specialist, as the 6th man for this team. And they're just winning it all. I'm fucking buying. I'm buying it all. I'm buying everyone else's stock of this. I'm becoming the CEO of Zeta Division.
Now, when you say split specialists, I mean,
There was one instance when
we don't know the
Bas
pools
played.
yet, right?
When Bas was playing, was it for Crazy Raccoon, I think?
Yes.
It was Crazy Raccoon.
And he
yes.
just subbed in only for them on Split, playing Brimstone.
Yep.
And I think he did all
Yeah,
right.
and
in
we
the
did
match,
well.
if I remember.
I
Yeah.
remember him playing well.
And we were just talking
Yeah.
on the co-stream. He's the Brimstone Specialist, but only for Split.
Right.
They can only
So
bring
as
him out
soon
for
as that
Split.
comes back in the pool, as soon as they revamp Split,
Yeah, they're good.
god damn, they got
They're
a
good.
free map W.
That's pretty much
I like that.
the whole
Insider
that's
trading.
like the one caveat for me to buy them is if Split is in the pool, then I will buy stock in Zeta Division. If it's not in the pool, I'm not going anywhere near it. I don't know. I would love to see them come back and show performances like we saw for them at Reykjavik, because it was another little. Was it Reykjavik or was it the second one? My
it was
brain
Reykjavik.
is fried. Okay, the jet lag is consuming me. I would love to see them run performances like that back in 2023 and be hyper competitive, be near the top of the standings here in APAC. It's just another situation where like PRX also kind of floundered a bit of champions. Zeta floundered a champions. We know the possibilities. We know the potential of all of these players. So I think that they can have a better year with a little bit more prep time and whatnot, knowing who their opponents are well in advance, getting ready to play over here on LAN and in Korea and whatnot. So I would also probably buy.
Okay.
Double
I mean,
buy.
I don't see. I honestly don't see, like, personally, in my opinion, comparatively to like PaperX, I don't even think Zeta like necessarily floundered at champs. They just got grouped by Loud. Like they
That's
just
also
played
true.
Loud twice.
Yeah.
That
and,
is true.
And they had some good maps versus them too. Like legitimately, despite my, when we built our fantasy roster segments and I was talking about the prestige, legitimately there is no other like team to represent Japan right now for me other than Zeta Division in terms of like the organization what they're building there, the roster, like they're legitimately good. Laz is fucking crazy. I overall like this roster is actually like good. I think this is a great organization backing them and like what they're building in Japan. I'm 100% Omega buying. Like I'm copping this immediately. Like there's no way you don't, because like they're just incredible. I think they're a very good roster, and they had like I don't think they even had a bad run at champs. They just literally had to play Loud twice in a row in groups.
Yeah, they did have a fucked group, but also, I am gonna buy, but I'm gonna buy, but I feel like for this team to reach maxo potential in the server, there might need to be one roster, maybe some kind of one roster move down the line where I genuinely don't even know who you would add right now, and I think I don't even know if there's someone to add right now that would necessarily push this roster forward. Rather that I think at some point in the future, with the scene being so big in Japan, I would hope that there are some strong upcoming players that have not really reared their head in the top scene yet that will be there at some point down the line next year, and they can bring that kind of player in. Because I do worry about all of the teams heading into the franchise league that haven't made any moves when a lot of other orgs are making huge moves. I am concerned with that. So this is a hesitant buy, and I'm kind of not expecting, honestly, them to be like great out, necessarily like a great out of the gate. I think they'll be good, but I feel like they're 1, maybe 2 moves away from being a beast team in like 8 months, or like around the end of the year. So if they can bring in like some new talented players at some point, I feel like that's when they're really going to start to go crazy.
A lot of these APAC teams, I think, are going to run into weird issues where, in particular with like teams like Zeta Division, the language barrier kind of isolates them only to Japanese talent, and the other Japanese teams have kind of been, middling in terms of just, and a lot of the star players as well. I mean, you think of, when Meteor was playing on, what was it, Northampton,
yeah.
But he's a Korean player, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's like even the star players, so they could theoretically upgrade in firepower, you're still going to have issues if you try to bring them into the Zeta Division system. I think keeping with the core makes a lot of sense. There are cracked, I think, duelist players, but I think this is just the safest thing to do if you are Zeta Division. You lock it in and you see where it can go. But I do agree with you, because I think at times we've seen Zeta Division have looked weak at some of the events where it looks like there's a bit of a duelist diff, for example, whenever there's a bit of a jet matchup or a chamber matchup for them. That's one of the things that always rears its head every now and then. You get like that inconsistency with that team. But I think they have they've had a difficult task of probably trying to find those upgrades because of the nature of them sticking with an entirely Japanese squad.
I mean, I think there's a couple guys from Northampton you can maybe look at, but Seth, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say you can bridge that gap. You want to pick up a Korean player, just get JoJo. You can speak Japanese, you can speak Korean, you can do that. If you want to why not import an American player, somebody who speaks English? Find a weeb who's really good at Valorant. They'll be able to speak both languages. It'll be
I
great.
think there might be
immediately.
I think there might be a gap between a fucking Crunchyroll premium subscription and trying to fucking come in game.
I'm teleporting behind him.
I mean, also they would still need to be good enough as well on top of that. But I mean, I would like to see perhaps
find a weeb who's real good at Valorant.
Really good at Valorant. I mean, to be fair, many Valorant professional players are weebs. However,
the pool is limitless.
I don't know if that translates directly to their Japanese speaking ability necessarily. And in fact, I'm sure our Japanese viewers are potentially offended over the mirrored suggestion.
I do like the shout for JoJo, though, Seth. Yeah. I can get on board with that. I feel like, specifically, I think they might need an upgrade in the initiator department at some point in the future. And I'm thinking, I feel like JoJo and Zinfree were both beasts on Northampton. But, all right, let's move on. We have Generation G. They have moved over from NA. They have an APAC team. And listen, there's parts of this team that I like what I've seen here. They've got Meteor, Intro, Echo, TS, and King, which is a pretty cool. Yes, Seth?
I was just gonna say, is the part that you're not feeling too great about? Is it Intro? Is that the one that you're like, or is it Echo? Or Eco,
sorry. Listen, I a little bit of both, maybe. I mean, it's not even. Listen, it's more so, I guess, that I'm very excited about Meteor and King. Those are just clearly, those are the standouts for me. For the reasons of Meteor was a fucking savage at the one event that Northampton were at this year at Copenhagen. And I feel like King was pretty. I feel like King was an underrated player on DRX, and I think he was pretty impactful for the team in a lot of key games. What do you think, Brendan?
TS, I rate as well quite a bit. I think the biggest problem though with just trying to upgrade and build new rosters in APAC in general, when I was looking at all these teams, is that the support players, like the players who might be playing Initiator, Smokes, whatever for them, the top players in those roles are already picked up. They're already signed. So it's hard to make upgrades in that capacity unless you're like importing or anything else. Because the names immediately, I mean, obviously it's biased because I'm following like the Americas a lot more. But I can think of so many like free agents at the start of the offseason in the Americas when it comes to initiator players that were, you know, crazy, or even just controller players that might be able to get picked up. Whereas APAC struggles in that regard quite a bit. So the big thing the big thing that I think teams should be focusing on is player quality, and then trying to instill in, you know, putting people in the roles, whether it's initiator, control, or whatever, and then, you know, through good coaching or whatever else, that's how they find their place. And Gen.G, I think, are making those moves. They've got their head coach currently is the guy who was coach alongside MCE for the longest time as well. He's an Australian guy. I think his name's Elmer Putty.
Yes.
I think. I don't know much about like his tenure in terms of just like him as a coach itself, other than that he was on Gen.G for the longest time when they've had ups and downs. But one of the biggest things I thought was missing from just APAC in general was the kind of I guess the attitude to how they approach the game, the players, how they approach the game on like a macro sense, how they're thinking about the game in certain rounds. I did so many VOD reviews of like Korean teams watching, and unless you're like DRX or Onslayers, there's so much like stuff that's just missing, that's just basic, that EMEA teams and NA teams were doing. The way they like thought about rounds, like if a team had this ultimate, like if the enemy team has a KO ultimate, we shouldn't be playing our Sentinel deep onto the site because then all their shit's going to get disabled. Like the extra layers on top that was missing, I saw all the time, and I thought that maybe the biggest upgrade a team could make is bringing in coaching talent from like NA and EMEA and that sort of thing to develop the talent, because there's no question in my mind that the players that Gen.G have picked up here are high quality pretty much across the board. I think they're great players with great potential, and it's just about how you mold that's important. So that's the big question mark for me. I'm gonna not buy. I'm gonna sell.
I mean, that was like you were
all that
really
build up.
leading up. Yeah, you were building up for that one.
Because
My
I think
God.
it's compared to any other region, building a new roster entirely. Yeah, they got Meteor, no fucking questions. Guy's a great player. Yeah, they got King. He's had a great tenure when he played on DRX outside of being on the bench. I thought TS was all right as well, but it's a pretty big uphill battle, I think, when you're comparing yourself to the other teams that already have their core rosters that haven't switched up too much coming into APAC. Like the caliber's there, but I mean, I might get proven wrong with this one, but I think it's a difficult task for them to try and make it work, I think, with the teams that they're competing against.
Yeah, that is all. Dude, you're spitting fucking facts. How do you feel about those facts, Seth?
I think the one thing that makes me feel a bit more up about this team is that just from what I think the intro was great. Basically, going to go back to playing smokes and controls. Like that's just kind of what this looks like on paper. Looking at just generally what all these players typically operate with, and when he was playing Omen, intro was looking like one of the best players that we had in Korea. You know, a long time ago. I'm talking about 2021 season when he was playing on. Was it Muyaho and Rio Company and whatnot. That's when he looked incredible. It's his most played. You can see right there, as well as the Viper. When he was playing in that role, this kid looked great. And that's why I really kind of just fell in love with his play style, because he was really smart about his movement, the way that he would either help his team get onto his site or hold a site down. I can think of a couple different highlight plays that he had playing on like Split and basically staving people off playing Omen over on the B side. So he can, when he's in that comfort position, he can play a bit like King, with just completely locking a team out and just picking people off. That gives me a bit more hope for Gen.G, because everybody else in their role, honestly, is pretty damn impressive. I mean, I think TS is a very good veteran shot caller at this point, led TNL to be, basically looking like the best team, one of the second best team at least that we had in Korea forever ago, before they just inevitably met Vision Strikers again in a playoff bracket and then got eliminated by them. Meteor is just cracked out of his mind, and Eco showed up during the LCQ after we hadn't seen him since TNL disbanded, and he was actually kind of instrumental in Onslayers having as deep of a run as they did, being able to make it into that final. Eco put up a really solid performance. So I obviously there's questions about how this team is going to gel, how much synergy they're going to have here, but I do feel a hell of a lot more hopeful, just with the general idea of where everyone's going to be playing. I would. Can I do a half buy, like where I'm not just inserting
I don't think we
my
have that
credit card into
do
the
we have a
machine? Can I throw like $15 on the table?
Is that like putting down a? Well, I have a question then, Seth. What? So, I rate TS, but also if intro swapping to like a smokes, like what is the agent? Like what's going to be the agent pool here for this team if TS? Because TS been playing. Wasn't he playing smokes most recently for Onslayers?
He was doing a bit of that, but I mean, it really just depends on what people have been working on as of late. I mean,
Yeah, I
because they
think there's such
basically
a long
have 3
period of
people
time.
who have played Initiator.
Yeah.
As of late in intro TS and eco. So basically they would just need to settle that. But I mean, if I was going to set it up, I would personally prefer to see intro playing smokes.
No, that's a good point. I didn't really. Yeah, you convinced me on the intro point with the smokes. He's definitely. I disagree with what you're saying there for sure, and I didn't really think about that. And that is, I too though, Seth, am living on the edge here because this team has 2 of my favorite players from the region in Meteor and King. So that just immediately makes me want to. That's convincing me. You kind of got me on the intro to smokes a little bit, but it's still it's just tough because I'm also trying to think with the buy or sell. It's like, will they be in the top half of the teams or the bottom half of the teams? And
I think it's more likely they'd be in the top, personally.
you think so?
Yeah.
In the top half. That's a lot of
If you compare them to
fucking
like
good teams,
Paper
man.
X and like Zeta Division and
Like, good
DRX,
teams.
like
one of the other factors that we didn't really talk about. I mean, we talked about Amapati coming in and that being a bit of an unknown factor. You know, how is he going to be able to tackle this team, and what is that kind of like feedback flow going to look like? But Bile is here as well, who is, you know, right up there with Glow and Solo and whatnot as far as being one of the most storied FPS players in Korea. And Bile showed that he could go to a Japanese organization in North Eption and then help them get international results. So with him there as well, there is a very solid foundation in a Korean-speaking coach to just help make sure that all of the strategy is going to get across to the players.
I changed my mind, if that's okay. I'd like to buy.
No, Seth is fucking waxing lyrical over here.
but
He's
mainly-
he's selling it. What do you think,
Mainly-
Connor?
Connor, go first.
I want to hear Connor's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
I
you
mean,
at?
so here's my thing. Overall, they have good pieces because I agree with you. Meteor fucking pounds. I like King a lot, and I actually did like. I think TS like in the server, like what he did with Onslayers was like good. Like I liked the structure they put together there. I'm just, I don't know. When I compare him to the other top squads here. But the other thing that's a pro for them is that Gen.G across the board, the one thing I give Gen.G credit for generally across the board recently, I'm talking about like recently, is like they're really process oriented with how they build their rosters. Like in terms of like, oh, we want our rosters to be like really functional. And sometimes what our piece would pick up, you'd be like, oh, I don't know. And then they're like, oh, wait, no, this is actually like a great piece. And like it's something that I think them as an organization have like focused pretty heavily on. So like that's like kind of like like that's cool type of thing when I look at Gen.G. So like I look at the pieces like, well, maybe they have a plan that I can't see. Like they have something that they're building. So like the minds are all there, but personally they just don't. It just doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me. You know, it doesn't get the people going. It doesn't get the people going.
It gets me going though. Fuck it, I'm buying. This is a razor thin margin buy from me. Because it does get me going. Fucking, dude, Meteor is so good, and I really have. King has been one of my favorite players in the DRX orbit for a long time, and God damn it! All right, this is such a razor thin margin buy, but fuck it, dude. Seth, where are you at?
Right there with you.
Okay, there we go.
Right there with you. Like I
That's
said,
what I like
just,
to see.
I'm hedging my bets on this one, but I think that I'm gonna make some money.
See, this is one where they're all they might all call us crazy for buying. No one else is gonna buy, and then fucking cha-ching. All right.
They told
T1
everybody
are up
crazy when I started buying Bitcoin back in the day, and look at me now.
We mentioned Bitcoin so much.
I still love that when you drive around Austin, there's all the billboards that are like, crypto is real.
Crypto is real.
Just shit like that still.
It's here to stay.
All right, T1. They have Saya player, Munchkin, Ban, Zeta, and Byomjun, who is just, I mean, just blue. They have no recorded VLR match history, but they're the 6th player, and then Autumn Tease, he posted a tweet about the roster, and I guess he said that like Faker was gonna play after he does done winning like the international or whatever. So they're gonna have him. So that's gonna be cool. Seth, do you have any insider information here on Byomjun? Who is that? Who is that player?
I really don't.
You're supposed to be our inside man. You're supposed to be the one that knows.
Look, I just got back from New Jersey after a 5-day trip, not a 5-year trip, 5-day trip.
5 years.
And I'm very tired. Let me reach out to my
When I
sources
looked
and I'll
him
get
up,
back to you.
this guy is a fucking mystery. He's an enigma,
Yeah,
man.
I mean,
this guy is the perfect guy you want on your fucking roster when you're robbing a bank in GTA. The guy's got no history, I'm telling you. He's got no history. He's a fucking clean slate. I mean, there's just nothing on record, really. But if you're trying to pick up a 6th player, it's that constant dilemma of we need a 6th player, but anyone who would be, good enough to actually be on a primary roster would only want to be on a primary roster. And if they want to compete and actually play in a partnership system on an active roster, they should probably go up for the Ascension system. So they don't want to be the 6th man. So you end up with this weird middle ground where you get players who haven't played or maybe haven't played in a year, and they're just like, you want 50K to sit on the bench?
Yeah.
Sure.
And I mean, for someone like that, it's definitely I think it's a good opportunity to at least if he ever gets to play, or his name is just more, in the mix. If you're trying to make it, if you're that unknown. I mean, I saw when they posted the announcement, he had like 150 followers. Or
I think
something.
it makes sense if you're at that level of clout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're at that level of clout. But it's a decision that like, if you are a pro player and you want to be competing, you don't really want to be playing as the 6th man on a roster that's going to be sticking with a core 5, because you're not going to get playtime. I've seen, historically, what I've seen as well, this happened early on in the Overwatch League, where the bench players wouldn't get playtime and their careers would be, set back essentially. Yeah, you get the minimum salary. Yeah, you get to, you're on a tier 1 team, but you don't get playtime. And so people are not going to be taking a chance on you if you ever then are trying to find a team after that given year.
Like Connor.
Yeah.
Well, the difference
Sorry,
is
Connor.
the difference is there. Okay, that was all part of the master plan.
Rusty never had any intention of giving you playtime.
That's right. Listen, did I tell you the Toronto story, Seth? Did I tell you the Toronto story where we're out?
You might have.
This is besides the point. We're getting off topic, but I actually can't find. I was doing a deep dive. I literally just did a credit check on Byomjun, and I can't find anything. Can't find anything on this guy.
Here's my best estimation as I'm waiting for my my inside source to get back to me. I think that he's probably just like a ranked demon player that shows some promise, and they're looking to pick him up and maybe train him up a little bit, because I mean that's something that DRX has been doing a hell of a lot of. Even when they're Revision Strikers having their trainees and whatnot. So I'm guessing that he's probably somebody who just crushes on ladder that they think that they can mold into a solid player. Because I think that their unannounced 6th man is just going to be a full-time starter. So I wouldn't be shocked to just find out that Byomjun is going to be there as somebody that they're looking to mold for the future.
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable assumption to make. Now, on the topic of the rest of the roster, though, fire. Do you agree?
Nasty
I
shot.
agree.
Okay.
I agree. There's the player quality on this team. Saya player, Munchkin, Ban, Zeta. Dude, these guys are top quality. I mean, T1 were dropping the bag when they were picking up these players. No doubt in my mind. And I think the big question that people will have is the role question, which is, Autumn was posting like a joke tweet but like people asking for the roles, and he's like, Munchkin's the IGL, Sai is a duelist, Zeta is God, and Ban is import slot. So just like not giving anything away, but I think the role question, the role dilemma, as we talk about a lot of these teams, doesn't hold as much ground in my head. Because there's such a long period of time between now and when teams are going to be playing in Sao Paulo. And especially in APAC. I've already mentioned it prior, but it's really difficult to pick up players, I think, who are playing Initiator, Smokes, whatever else, the hard Sentinel role, because a lot of those top players in APAC are already on teams, or there's language barrier issues that stop you from picking them up if you're trying to build like an entire Korean team or whatever. So the second best option to do is to pick up players who you think are have really high potential and actually mold them and make them play those roles instead, and actually mold them as players, which I've already said prior you can do when we're talking about Gen.G. But yeah, the more I thought about it, the more I think the role dilemma of like, this team's not good because how are the roles going to work? I don't think it holds as much ground with how much time these teams have got to prep.
Yeah, that
True.
That makes sense to me. I mean, first of all, you have the Zeta Autumn duo, and I feel like you can almost see how good they are by virtue of how much worse Cloud9 got when they were gone. Mm-hmm. And then also, dude, I like the Ban pickup. Ban is fucking crazy.
Yeah, Ban is great.
And I mean, just the firepower across the board here is bananas. I'm just buy. I'm buying. Connor.
So you're willing to buy before we even know what their?
Yes.
We literally don't even know what their other player is gonna be.
We know they're the GOAT.
Dude, I don't.
We know they're the GOAT.
Yep.
We do know they're the GOAT. So I don't know. But I think overall across the board, yes. Their picks are nice. I like Saya player, great. It's funny that he's returned back to T1. Like he's like made his career be like, oh, Sai is really good. Okay, back to T1, where his career was being ruined. So I find that journey like funny, but obviously it's in a much different system than it was before. And like Munchkin obviously has been like consistent firepower on the teams that he's been a part of. And Ban Zeta, like, you know, Zeta obviously a little bit more like established at this point, but Ban 100% with Knights was like really, really good. Like I do rate like this squad a lot. In fact, this squad is far more exciting to me than the Gen.G squad. I just don't know who the fuck GOAT is. I don't know who GOAT is the issue, but I'm gonna take a chance on this, and surely T1 wouldn't lie to me after they said they were gonna be in North America. They've already lied once. They can't lie a second time, surely. So maybe they're probably getting GOAT, and I'm gonna buy it.
Double buy.
Buying for the GOAT. Well, I know who GOAT is.
What?
And I'm buying.
Okay, that's
What?
good. That's
You
good.
want, dude?
Put it in the chat.
Give
Put
a
it in the
hint.
chat. We won't say it. Put it in the chat though.
That is far too risky. Yeah,
Too risky?
Kurt, take it off. It's supposed to be a
wait.
secret. He's still playing a world.
Wait, Seth. This is actually. Hold on. We got to cook this fucking content. Seth, put the name in the Discord. We're not gonna say. We're just gonna make sounds and faces and react to it.
I agree.
Okay.
I
Everyone.
don't know if I should do that.
We're not
Why not?
showing it on the stream. It's
Why not?
This won't listen.
In the Discord or in this call?
The Discord.
Discord is the
He's
safest.
not in the Discord.
Discord is a safe
safer.
haven.
Yeah, Discord is safe.
He's not in the
I
Discord.
even
though.
have, I have
It's
access
safer
to, like,
to use the
nothing
chat
but
because it won't
public
appear on screen.
channels.
It's safer to use the chat.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Just
Well,
use
then
the chat.
Okay, do
Okay,
the chat.
we'll use
Do
the chat.
Do the
Okay,
chat.
we'll
I'm
use the
preparing
chat.
my pog face.
Sorry,
I'm
that
preparing
was
my pog
already in my
face.
chat box.
Oh, okay.
18 naked
Whoa,
cowboys
18 naked
out in the yard.
cowboys.
Is what Seth
Sorry.
just posted.
That's a misfire.
Oh.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm
reacting.
ready. I'm ready.
Reaction time.
2, 1.
What? What? You're joking.
No. Really?
Are you trolling?
I'm not.
Real.
A reliable source, a little birdie that I trust, has
So, okay,
littered onto
I
my
see-
shoulder.
Okay, so I see the connection. I see the connection. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I see where it's coming to like together, but that's fucking crazy.
I did not. I mean,
Also, if that's the case, they're my hero. The amount of bag getting this person can get, they're my hero. Like, that's crazy.
oh, dude.
My God, that's okay. That's actually crazy. That's really wild.
I'm putting on my poker face.
And just, I'll excommunicate my source if this is wrong.
Okay. Either way.
Yeah, we just gave them like
a
an insane
shocking
YouTube
reveal.
pog face. Yeah, that is shocking.
A leak that even George Geddes can't get.
No way.
God, dude. Seth really is on. He's really on the
How does he do
inside.
it?
Bren, you're the
How
last.
does he
I mean,
do
listen,
it?
I'm still fucking buying.
I mean, that kind of changes the calculus potentially.
I'm in, but honestly, the GOAT kind of deducts points.
Yeah. Yeah, the GOAT.
I'm not even lying. I'm in, but I was higher on this team when they were just an unknown quantity.
When they had Bjomja and
Yeah.
in
They-
the starting five.
the GOAT deducts points in my mind.
The GOAT is legit. Like I just said, this guy is the best bag getter in the history of esports. Like, if this is the case, so like they could be the GOAT. They really could be the GOAT. But when I see the GOAT there, that is the GOAT. Corpo, that's the Corpo goat essentially, is what that goat is. So I don't know. That's interesting. I'm gonna keep the buy though. I'm gonna keep the buy because the idea. Now I'm buying it for the idea. So like it's happening. Like I gotta.
Oh my God! All right, we've all bought. Next
It'd be
up,
so funny if I just lied to all of you.
Me when I spread misinformation. The Plat Chat podcast.
Yeah.
it's DRX, dude. You know them, you love
Buy.
them. They
Buy.
got the same
Buy.
5. I'm buying.
Buy it. Buy it.
You know, no, I'm buying.
Yeah, I'm
100% my life savings into this one.
I mean, if there were a team, I have apprehension with the teams that haven't changed anything. This is not the team that I have apprehension with for not changing anything. And I find myself surprised to be saying that, but not really, because it's off the back of their biggest success yet.
Yeah.
So I'm totally fine with them keeping the same 5. They broke through the psychological barrier. So I'm all good with it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm on the same page. I think just keeping the core 5. Listen, sail into Sao Paulo. You know, fucking whatever. Just win or something. I don't know.
Slap some cheeks, take the tournament.
Yeah, just win. And then they got like Foxy9 as their 6th player.
Yep.
Foxy9. I don't really know much about him, but it's again, similar vein to pretty much almost every other 6th player on the APAC teams, where it's just like backup player, probably wasn't going to compete in Ascension, is the minimum to play on the bench, still on the bench. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
What if they had announced that and they brought back Lakia?
Dude, I would have lost
That would
it.
have been funny.
Dude,
That
they
would've
really
been
They
funny.
heard that Gen.G was going to pick up Lakia or something, and they were just like, no.
No, we'll sign Lakia. Keep him in
Lakia
contract
got
jail again.
trolled. I mean, yeah, there's not much to say. This is the easiest buy of all time.
Just easy
Easiest
buy.
buy of all time.
Yep.
Team Secret. They have Dubstep, Jesse Vash, Envy, Borkum, still love that name, and Jeremy. How are we feeling about Team Secret? I can't say I'm super familiar with this team, so I'm gonna throw this one to you, Seth. How are you feeling about this roster right now?
Oh God. Not great, I guess. I don't know. I mean, Secret, they had some explosive performances last year at champs and whatnot, and that kind of caught people off guard, I guess.
Yeah.
With how strong they performed there, but they had a really rocky 2022. I love a lot of the players on this team. Like, they're also, I think, still like on average one of the oldest rosters that are still competing, just because, like, I mean, Jesse Vash, I don't know how many kids he's got now, but he's, well into his 30s and whatnot. The man's a dad multiple times over. But I love their aggressive plays that they were showing off at champs last year. The dubstep play, I still call it that, when you just rush out of garage on Haven and just go straight towards like attacker spawn and kill 4 people as Jet. I just still call that the dubstep, but they just haven't really been able to hit that stride. Maybe with some of the minor alterations things could do well, but I don't know. For me, this is a sell.
With a lot of teams going for full rebuilds, I think that Secret sticking with a core is probably one of the better lines to success that they could have, I think, coming into next year. And they've got Invian, who I think like a 17-year-old initiator player. So that's to replace Wit, I think. So they're just keeping a pretty solid core, replacing the 1-for-1. I think they've got Lenny as well on the bench, who used to play for Bleed. And I think they're from Singapore. So the trouble is when they're building this roster as well, is they're kind of like excluded from, in theory, excluded from talent in like picking up Korean players or Japanese players or even like Thai players because of just the language barriers. Because, I mean, this is predominantly what the Filipino, I think. So,
Filipino.
English. I mean, the English language is spoken very commonly in the Philippines. I think it's like 90% when I was looking it up. So it gives them access to that pool of players in terms of what they could pull from, where if they're coming in English, speaking in English, and it could make a mixed roster work, but they are kind of limited in that kind of way. So it kind of just makes sense to pick up players who they think would be good, maybe just within their own region as well, potential with Invi. I can't really comment too much on Invi themselves. I know Lenny's a good player as well, who I think is going to be either their sixth player or they're going to work out a rotation of some kind. But this is a very... I can see this team finishing comfortably middle of the pack coming into next year, for APAC at least. That's where I see the kind of trajectory of this team, because I think that there's going to be some experiments with APAC rosters that just absolutely implode. There's going to be some teams that are just going to be consistently good and would beat them pound for pound currently. And then there's Team Secret, where I think we might have already seen the upper limit of this team earlier with just this core. So yeah, the changes aren't really too exciting, but middle of the pack is still better than most teams in APAC, so...
I don't think that this is going to be middle of the pack. I think that they're going to be probably within the bottom 4.
See, I don't know. I think, yeah.
I think.
I mean, their core hasn't even been beating Xerxia or PaperX at all.
Look at the teams that we've already looked at: Zeta, Gen.G, T1, DRX, PaperX, and then we have to get to like Detonation and Global Esports, which I think probably have better rosters than Secret and have more promise to be able to put up performances. So that leaves them in the bottom 3.
I'm taking
off of that list.
You're taking a punt on them?
I'm taking a punt on them. Yeah, I think that keeping a core has, in my mind, better percentage chance of success heading into next year than a full rebuild. And I think that them upgrading 1 or 2 players, bringing in young up and coming players like Invi, bringing in tested players like Lenny on the bench as well. I don't think this team is going to be finishing like top 4 by any means, but I think that there's potential here. Dubstep's a great player as an individual comes. Borkum as well, I think, was proven on LAN in the moments that he played as well. Important element as you think about as we're heading into next year. Borkum.
He was borking hard.
And he was borking hard, man. I'm a very... Listen, I'm a light buy right now. You know, I'm fucking half buying when everyone's... this is a light purchase from me.
Yep.
Light. But I'm still buying in ever so slightly on the success of this team. I think that they have a chance of finish. I think they'll finish middle of the pack, but maybe pushing in the, above the bottom 50%.
I feel like you're asking for a lot, Connor. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, considering this, obviously it's not the exact same roster, right? But like even within the region, they weren't beating any of the top teams that have now been like their cores are being in the franchise system at APAC, like PaperX and Xerxia and such. Like they were never beating them. They had some close maps at points with them in like this past year, but I don't know. They're just, you have to be taking series against these other cores and players and looking good against them for, me to have like a lot of belief that this is going to be a very solid like roster in the new franchise system when everyone, especially in APAC, when everyone's like kind of revamping at points. So like they just don't seem to have any of the oomph necessary to like, why would I believe this team should finish in like the top half of the region currently?
Maybe I'm misremembering. Didn't they like at the beginning of the year in like stage 1 miss the APAC playoffs?
I believe.
I'm pretty sure that they just couldn't even qualify into that first round of playoffs after they like had broken out of the minor region into the meta region.
You would be cool. Well, let's see. That's actually you'd be correct. They didn't play in playoffs of 2022. They didn't get it until season 2. Until
Stage 2, you mean?
Yeah.
Stage 2, not season 2.
Most
Stage 2.
recently, their LCQ showing was not
What?
great. It was just not great.
To be fair, APAC is really competitive with the top
It
level.
is.
It was looking
You're
like
right.
Team Secret,
I mean,
Bleed, Onyx,
sure.
and Boom in terms of who could potentially
But-
take it, no?
Doesn't that work exact counter to wanting to buy? That the region is strong and they're just not at the top of it anymore? You know what I mean? Like that's
He's taking a punt.
It's a punt.
I'm not. Listen. I respect the punt. But I'm talking about me. This is my money here.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And my problem is that I feel like when I'm looking at this is the exact opposite of what I just said about DRX. Like I'm okay with DRX keeping all their guys because I just saw them peak. Team Secret, I feel like, are the opposite. They've had a rough year, and they're keeping 4 out of 5, excuse me, of the players that they had, which does not fill me with confidence. Though I've seen these players play really well in the past, I feel like that was just too long ago, and it doesn't excite me to essentially see the same roster moving into this next year, which is my concern. I will not be buying.
They have gotten rid of some of the lowest performers, though. With Wits and Dispenser gone, I think. Like
Dispenser on
Wits, in my mind, I mean, I just got reminded because we pulled up the VLR, but Wits was playing Chamber for them. I think he was playing Breach as well. That's why I thought he was playing Initiators. But I think his Chamber wasn't on par with a lot of other top players in the region. I think they have made good improvements to the roster as a whole. And with how competitive APAC is, I think any given day, honestly, you play that last chance qualifier on a different week, you could see a completely different team from the APAC actually qualifying through it rather than Boom. It's that close between the top teams in APAC in that regard. So
yeah, you're right, but that's why I'm scared. It's very competitive, and I feel like the APAC teams are really stacked. And that's why I'm scared. But Connor, you're the last. What
I'm not buying. I'm not buying.
Okay.
I'm not. It's,
You guys-
it's no secret that I'm not buying.
this is where I'm going to make my fucking fortune.
Boo!
That's a boo.
I'm literally gonna pour myself a glass of scotch because that joke was so bad that I need to make up for it.
Whatever you want to say, pal. We're all laughing. Got the whole squad laughing.
You do not have the fellas laughing right now. The squad is not. The squad is booing. All right, Paper Rex are next. Paper Rex are next. Jing, Benkai, Defy, Mind Freak, Forsaken, same 5. Dripped out in the Paper Rex jerseys. Fuck you talking about, Bren?
Bye.
Buying. Connor.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry.
Buy.
Gotta buy
Everyone's
that. It's
buying.
okay.
No apprehension whatsoever.
No.
Not even
Like
a
I
little
said.
bit of apprehension.
Coming into Champions, their worst performance, arguably, the entire year, I think was off the back of the fact that they didn't have enough time to prep. I think they didn't have enough time to prep. And there was such a tight turnaround from Copenhagen to that. A lot of their play style was revolving around very specific niche strategies, the Euro comps and things like that, which are counterable if you have enough preparation ahead of time. And I think that was their downfall. The player quality is still there. The team playing synergy is still there. They still were holding a candle, I think, to a lot of top teams over the course of the year and making really deep runs. The team staying together, I think, bodes well.
Okay.
Should be a buy. I think that, yeah.
I'm going to buy, but I think I just have a little bit more apprehension. I'm not all in. I think they're going to be really good. I don't think they needed to make it. Yeah, I don't think they needed to make any moves, but I know they're going to be a top team, but I'm just not head over heels in love because the champions was just
Yeah.
They just didn't leave it. They didn't leave off at a high note.
Yeah, it's a
so
little bit
it's
iffy.
tough to. I don't feel super all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But obviously, it's still
You can
an
do
easy
a
as fuck
light
buy.
buy.
It's still an easy buy. It's a strong buy.
I
still.
think they should still finish top
It's
50.
still a
They're
strong buy.
in the top half of
more
of
than
APAC.
that. I mean, of APAC, and just in general in franchises in total. I mean, they should still be like a top 8 team.
Should be making playoffs, you
top
think?
12 min.
Should be making Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next up, we have Rex Regum Keon. Oh, I thought it was Rex Regum Quantum. Oops. Rex Regum Keon. They have EJ, Kelly S, Iman, and I'm not talking about Pokimane, Tabatal, and Flipshooter. Connor shaking his head. Here's my question that I need answered. Here's my question that I need answered about this team. Who are these guys?
Okay.
Why are they on the
So
team together?
there's drama that was associated with this team that we've kind of skipped past a little bit, but I don't know if we talked about it on Plat Chat. I don't think we did. But essentially, this was I believe they're an Indonesian org, right? It's an Indonesian org, RRQ, and
I think they're Filipino.
well, the players were Filipino, but I think the org itself is Indonesian, I think. And so the fans,
I gotta check.
the Indonesian fans, I think, were pissed because they were just going to sign their old core of Philippine players. But the org itself, I think, traditionally is a. I know it says that because that's
It's
the
based
predominant.
it's based
VLR
in
says
Indonesia.
that because it's the majority of the nationalities on the roster.
Yeah,
are from the
according to
Philippines.
Wikipedia,
Gotcha.
it is based in Asia. It is based in Indonesia.
Based in
according to
Indonesia,
Wikipedia.
so an Indonesian
based in
org.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They get accepted into the
Now I
partnership
remember the
system
drama.
outside of a lot of other teams that people thought should get in. And instead of building, there's a lot of Indonesian talent proven on the big stage. You got fucking Boom and Onyx,
Right.
tons of Indonesian talent. And the team looked like they were just going to stick with the roster they picked up that didn't even do that well. And so the fans were pissed at this overall, at this. And so it seems like there was that leak that Wyatt gave a slap on the wrist to teams saying like, listen, you got accepted into the partnership system. What the fuck's going on?
We just gave you bread.
Yeah, and the rumor is that slap on the wrist might have been directed at RRQ, and RRQ, as a result of this, have picked up 3 more players, which is the Indonesian players, which is in the form of Flipsider, Tebottle, and Lemimore. So you basically got Lemimore from Onyx, Tebottle and Flipsider from Boom, and so
Right.
I think this. So I'll start by saying that these Indonesian players that they're picking up, I think are bode pretty well for them. Tebottle was great on LAN. Flipside, I think, showed some good signs as well. And I think Lemimore as well is a fantastic player. But you've built this core of 3 of your players from Indonesia now, and you already had a completely different idea of where you wanted to take the roster on in the first place. So what I fear for this team is you had the initial approach, and then the backlash happened, and you've decided to sign all these other players that were otherwise available. There was also, by the way, rumors that they were potentially trying to get players just on minimum contracts initially, which is why none of the Indonesian players wanted to sign. So it seems like this roster, this team, the org itself, is not doing a good job of the handling of this roster. And it seems like they are building it in 2 different directions at once, and they're just trying to split apart at the seams almost. Now, there is good signs here. I think Kelly S is a good duelist player that you could build around if you wanted to incorporate him. But as it stands, I don't know what the fucking standing 5 is going to look like, because they have an 8-player roster as it stands.
Yeah, they got
As
more
of right now, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Yep, they have 8.
crazy
Fuck
raccoon
knows, man.
looking ass.
I mean,
team.
yeah, they've
It's
done a
just
bit of
funny
a
players.
a bit of a reverse, but I think it does not look good when the team was going in one direction and you pivot
Right.
and you go in a different direction by picking up these players. I mean, it could work out, but I think it's more likely that it doesn't work out, and this team will probably be landing in the bottom 50 percentile of APAC.
Also, their head coach is South African, which I find interesting.
That's pretty interesting,
but,
yeah.
yeah. But I mean, like you said, like a lot of that area, like especially in the Philippines, there's a lot of English spoken. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, very interesting roster.
What the hell is who's starting on this team? Just who knows?
Fucking-
'Cause
I mean,
I don't know
the
anything about
Indonesian
these guys
players are
that aren't.
definitely-
I know the Boom guys, but I don't know these other guys at all.
The other,
Just
I feel
roll
like
an
the
8-sided
Indonesian,
die and take the first 8 numbers.
no, the Indonesian players
Skip
should probably
repeats.
start. All the 3 Indonesian players they picked up, I feel like, are starter material.
I mean,
Because
they
they
have.
came
I
from
mean,
good
yeah,
squads.
absolutely. I mean, dude, Tebatal was fucking crazy good. He looked nice, and I'd seen some good gameplay from Flipshooter within the regional matches, but I just don't know shit about these other guys, and this roster is built so haphazardly that I just can't have confidence in it. So I will sell, but I hope that. I don't know. I don't. I guess I just. I don't.
No, I think this is
I don't know.
reasonable.
Hopefully, somehow, if something gets thrown together that can be competitive and can also do right by the players that are good that deserve to be in the
Yeah.
league. Like, I hope they don't just end up on a chaos team that doesn't perform well because it's been built so haphazardly that they look bad when they deserve more. You know what I'm saying?
That would also feel really bad for EJ because he came from Bren Esports, right? So it would be from like one haphazard nightmarish thing into another one if they can't get this off the ground and execute on it well. So obviously we want all of the teams to be doing well, to be run well and everything, but I feel like there's like a door-to-door salesman knocked on my door and he's trying to explain a technology that he wants to install in my house that I can't comprehend, so I just can't buy it. It just doesn't make sense for me.
Any team that starts out getting reprimanded
Well,
because they're not putting
I'll add.
That's the rumor, right? It's the
rumor that
but,
I'm
Allegedly.
fucking pouring fuel on the fire.
that would
Allegedly.
be that's not a good look, obviously, but if the rumor were to be true. But overall, the real reason I'm not buying this because I also don't understand it. So that's it. I'm simply too ignorant to really to even begin to be. It's like I can't afford buying something I don't understand.
Let's invest in something we don't understand, like coal.
this team. I just can't put money on this.
Yeah.
God damn it. All right. Next up, Talon Esports. They just put out the vid the other day. They made it official. Patty Pan's he's back. The Patty Pan.
This
Fox,
dude, I
Fox,
literally called it.
Jit Boys and Sushi Boys. So many boys on this team. All the boys. Connor, how are you feeling about this squad? You called.
I just called it with
Patty
Patapan. Yeah, I called it. As soon as it happened, I was like, this guy's going back to Valorant. But apparently it's more of like isn't he more as like a sixth player?
Yeah,
role?
he's going to be a sixth player
Yeah.
because he is having wrist injury problems.
Yeah.
He had to retire, I think, early from OWL, right? Because of the wrist injury stuff that was going on. So
That's supposedly what
if he's
said,
trying
yes.
if he's trying to recover, then he will be a sixth player. I mean, what is this video?
That smile.
I don't know how certain I am with this roster. I mean, Patapan is an absolute freak of nature. Don't get me wrong. This guy is an absolute demon, but I don't think he's going to be getting that much playtime. I think Garnets is going to be their primary duelist player, I think, coming into this team. Garnets is the another cracked player, this guy here. And they also have the issue with, because they've decided to build around this particular core of players, they are limited where
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Incredible roster reveal.
What was
losing it. It's the same stuff that I was talking about prior with language barriers, because they're a Thai team, right? I'm pretty sure. So it's not as I think it's like 20% of the country speaks English as a secondary language in Thailand. It's not as commonplace. So if you're probably going to be limited to mainly Thai talent if you're trying to find upgrades for this team. And so that's probably why you're seeing players like, Jit Boys here, who's coming in, a young player, hasn't had much playtime at all. Actually, if you look at his history, he's only really played on like kind of other full Thai teams in the past, which haven't performed that well. So they're limited in terms of the talent they can pick up for upgrades themselves. Patapan's probably going to be on the bench for almost all of the years he's recovering. So this team is kind of just unknown quantities. And they also missed out on Surf, I guess, as well, because Surf would have been one of the biggest pickups that they could have got. And he's not on the roster. So I don't really know where to stand with this one. I think I'm leaning, as much as I love Patapan as well, I just don't see that he's going to get playtime as much this over the course of 2023. I'm going to have to sell on this team. I just don't feel confident on them. Not every team can be a winner, and I think that the limitations and obstacles that this team has, just in terms of what talent they can pick up, Patapan being on the bench, it adds too much uncertainty for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, their core is good. The Xerxia core that they have here isn't like bad to like starting point, right? Sushi Boys, Cruz, Fox, like I wouldn't necessarily say that like comparatively like Surf, you said, or even like Scary. I think like Scary being absent is interesting.
Scary was the player that's missing.
Oh, was that the one? Okay, I was about to say like,
it wasn't Scary.
yeah, like I think
Scary.
Scary was like, I was about to say like, cause like I'm like, where the fuck is this dude? Like I know it's about to be Halloween, maybe jump scare us. somewhere, but like overall,
Boo!
like,
Boo! He's tanking.
I'm
He's
on a roll,
tanking.
baby. See you guys all at the Lucky Duck. I'll see you there. But it's I don't know. I this roster, like, they have a decent core, and Patapan's a great player, but obviously, like you said, the injuries. So it's not. I mean, I'd rate it above like Secret. I think I currently, though, to be fair,
yeah.
I'm underrated. I might be underrating Secret a tad with that, but like overall, like I feel like this core that they have from Xerxia is good, and Patapan is like a great player once he's able to play.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's quite at the level. If I wouldn't cop Gen.G, I don't know if I'd cop this. You know? And so I'm not.
I thought
I think
didn't you
that's
cop
reasonable.
Gen.G?
I did not cop
No.
Gen.G.
Oh.
He did not.
Did not.
I think that's reasonable, and I don't think you're off. I mean, this is the Xerxia core. They have been better than Team Secret all year. I don't think that's off at all. I mean, if Patapan can't be in the starting roster this year, that is not good. That's just simply not good. Thus, I will not be buying. In the future, however, I will reconsider and potentially purchase. But that does put me off, unfortunately, because then at that point, I feel like they may be losing a little bit too much firepower from the starting lineup that they so desperately need, especially with Scary not being around. I think he was a crucial part of this Xerxia core's success. So as for right now, I will not be buying. In the future, though, I may reconsider. Seth?
This one almost feels like a coin flip for me. It's like right on the edge because I feel like I'll either get rich or go broke from this team. I think that there is maybe a little bit too much risk with it, just given that we don't know what the structure is going to be like, how much Patty's going to be playing. Because if I knew that like Patty's in great health, he's going to be playing, damn near every series except for a couple edge cases where he's going to get subbed out, I'd be buying 100%. But because we kind of just have to assume that is not going to be the case, I will join you all in selling.
4 sells. All right. Next up, we have Global Esports.
This graphic
They have a
isn't big enough.
shitload of players on this roster, I think, right?
They have
This
7
is like an
players on this
all-time
team.
record of players on a roster, potentially. But they have...
Well, no, because is it RRQ beats this by 1?
Oh, really? Gotcha.
Yeah, I think so.
They've got...
No, because based off their current on the VLR page, Global definitely has more than.
Yeah, Global have got like, I think, don't they have like 4 or 5 Indian players?
Yes.
Oh, is that it? Oh, you know what?
Yeah. This team is fucking bonkers. I'm going to come out and say
This
it.
is what happens when I don't go to VLR. I'm
Look
sorry.
at this fucking team, man. Look at this
you're
team.
right.
It is fucking
I made a mistake.
bonkers. Okay?
It's 10 people.
It is crazy.
They could win Ascension and franchising with the same fucking roster, just divided into 2.
Yeah.
They brought in Aaron to IGL, which is pretty... Listen, I think that's pretty cool.
I like it.
honestly. That's all right. Listen, you got my attention. Bozzy, Texture, SK Rossi, Ronsky. Like they've got players from across the fucking globe on this team.
Going for the world tour.
They lived up to the name.
Yeah, they truly have. I kind of want to buy this for all the wrong reasons. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know. I literally don't know what's going on with this. This is so fucking crazy that you got me. I'm in. I'm buying.
To me, go ahead, Brian.
I want to shed some light on this because
Okay.
I looked at this team. I was doing my research.
Yep.
Monet, duelist player.
Okay.
Neon Rays Jet player. Ronsky, most recently, Jet Chamber player.
Yep.
Bazzi, duelist player. Texture, duelist player. The primary roster that's going to be probably playing together, I don't think many of the Indian players are going to be playing on the primary roster. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It's probably going to be Aaron, Bazzi, Texture, Ronsky, and Monet, right? That's what I'm assuming.
Is my Ethernet out?
Look, no,
They might put Rossi in there.
Wait. I'm gonna mute the mic one second.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
immediately, what the fuck is going on with the roles? Okay, I'm looking at this, all duelist
I don't know,
players.
dude. Just get 4 fucking cracked out duelists and just put them on other stuff, and they'll still hit shots. And they'll still get killed.
I was like, I gotta go straight to the source here. Aaron,
You
I
asked
messaged Aaron. I asked him.
Okay.
Look at what he sent me.
Dude, what the fuck?
So, I said to Aaron, I'm like, listen, we're recording Plat Chat Valorant tomorrow. I don't want to just completely shit on your team here before I see this bigger picture.
He sent you that looks like he copy pasted the entirety of the Fellowship of the Ring.
Dude, he sent me the business of this, but I'm gonna shorten it and get across the primary points of what they're trying to achieve with this roster, because it doesn't really make much sense on paper. But there's a couple of things you need to know, right? In APAC, the best players in the game, the best players in the world, were incredibly hotly contested, and the window to pick up a lot of these players was just missing completely. So if you wanted to pick up the best of the best talent, like, it was just a mad scramble for really good talent, and including, the kind of supportive players, initiator players, controller players, they were already on teams as it stands. There wasn't really proven talent in that role, in that capacity, where you have initiator players, controller players that you could pick up because they were just so hotly contested. So instead, the way that they've gone about with the building of this roster, I think Aaron as well had a hand in this. They are actually prioritizing players with, one, international LAN experience. If they have LAN experience, that was one of the big things they were looking for, because most games next year are going to be played on LAN. Most games are going to be played. There's going to be players that might end up just flopping as well because they have to play on the stage environment. Two players that were on the fringe of maybe making LAN to prove that they actually had the caliber of actually making it far. So again, just prioritizing experience, competitive experience, going deep in tournaments. And the third thing is basically just untapped, unproven talent in regions that other people are just not going to be looking at completely. But the big thing, the big takeaway from this is that all the players on this team are eager to win, willing to play whatever role is necessary for the team to work, and it's just essentially just trying to develop as a team. Aaron admits that, listen, it's going to be a difficult task for what they're setting out to do, but that is what their priority was when they were trying to build this, which is a different direction, and honestly, a similar direction to how T1 are playing in terms of their roles with how they picked up and just try to prioritize high quality talent to actually mold. But this is the direction that they wanted to go in with global esports. I think it's pretty high risk, high reward. But honestly, I'm buying. I'm buying after Aaron sent me the fucking Giga essay. Because
did he explain what the Indian players, like the roster they kept of the Indian players, like how they're slotting into the players they picked up exactly?
No, he didn't leak anything in terms of just like what roles people were going to be playing, who's going to be on the primary roster, and things like that.
No. It's more so like where is global esports currently viewing the rosters of the players, like the Indian players they kept on the roster? Obviously, like there is talent there amongst them, but it's more so like currently, I think most people would agree that like they typically are not at the level where they've been competing internationally, like a champs type event. So they need to grow. They need that. So what is their plan with integrating them? Not like their role specifically.
I don't know.
Like,
I didn't ask.
He didn't give any vision about that.
No, I didn't ask about that. I was
Okay.
working off the assumption that the primary roster would be the kind of mixed roster of players with actual, like the proper top level experience. And I think the Indian players will just be kind of, there as a team, just as another team that's being signed, because Global Esports is an Indian brand. They're an Indian org. So I think it's more just, fan base is there as well. I don't know how much playtime they're going to be getting, but I'm working off the assumption that it's going to be essentially roughly this player, and they might end up picking up another player as well, possibly later down the line, for the team. But there's already a massive roster, but the potential here is great if they do it well. It's just high risk, high reward. It's a long path to try and find success, but I think the kind of methodology of which they've tried to build the team does make sense now that I had it explained to me. Because otherwise, I was going to get ready to just tear down his team.
It is a fucking bananas.
It's fucking bonkers.
It is ridiculous, which is why I'm buying. Seth, what are you going to do?
When I saw the announcements and I just saw name after name after name popped up, it felt like I was watching one of those like Mega Shark versus like Crocosaurus movies where it's just like big giant monsters, cram it all into a movie. This shit's got everything in it. You buy it, it's $5. We will entertain you. Like
Exactly.
It just felt like it was a sensory overload. Where like if you gave your kid like $5 and said like you can buy 2 pieces of candy, and then they just came back with a bucket full of like 5-cent pieces of candy. It's nuts. It's batshit. I have no idea how it's going to work. I do think that out of any of the players from like the original lineup, like if one of them is going to be seeing regular play time, it's got to be SK Rossi. I think that there would be riots in the streets if that man doesn't play. And I think that he is one of the few that is, I think, can perform at that level to be able to play against teams internationally. He was damn impressive in his own right, even back at last year's LCQ and whatnot. So I would be
competing with 4 other players for his role, though, Seth.
This is very true, but we don't. But again, there's so much time before Brazil, before the tournament. So who knows what everyone's going to be playing by the time we get there? Maybe Texture is going to be an Astra main. I don't know. But I think that he would be like the one that we see with any regularity. I'm buying strictly because it's just one of those things where I'm like, this is either going to make me rich or I don't know. I had some fun spending some money. This is like going to the casino.
It really
if
is.
I walk out and I'm down $300, I don't care because I had some fun.
Exactly. Yeah, that is exactly correct. This is just having fun at the casino. Connor,
It's doing tech support.
Come on, Connor, come to Vegas with us.
No. Sorry, there was one of the Tom Ryan, aka Ogre 2, the legendary Halo man himself, who's our GM of our COD team. He's looking for Ethernet ports, and I'm apparently taking one of them, doing the podcast right now. Something about how our office internet is set up is like I'm stealing his internet or something. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's literally 1984. But the point being is that I don't know. This roster to me, I personally feel like I think their methodology is probably makes more coherent sense, but this is kind of like RRQ levels of roster building still. In the fact that like it seems like they have 2 very divergent goals still, where they're like, oh, we're an Indian organization, so we're gonna keep these Indian players around, but we're also gonna get all these players that have actually competed at top level events and like try to integrate them. Like it feels like they're stuck in an identity crisis where like we want to have this local fan base, but we're just going to pick up a bunch of players that are not obviously Indian onto the roster. And like, those are 2 very divergent goals. Like you can either admit like, okay, like maybe there's like 1 or 2 Indian players that we think has potential, and we build out our organization, right? We build the foundation to train up Indian talent, because like you can get great players from India. You can 100% find great players in India. Like they can exist, especially if they have the infrastructure and they have like they have experience to work with. Like 100% you can get superstars from that region. It's more so like, are you going to get it immediately as soon as partnership starts? And like that probably isn't the case, and they're probably conflicting with their regional like marketing goals, and also like, oh, we want to be good at Valorant goals. So like to me, it's kind of a long-term project for global esports. So I would not cop this roster, but the idea is so cool that I'd be like, could I put like, I would buy a long-term stock in global esports. I would, if they put it like an index fund, I would put my monthly, I would put reoccurring investments into it. Because the idea they could be building is very, very interesting and cool there. It's just immediately, I don't know if it's going to be a successful project.
That is
We're
fair
trying to day
and
trade it,
honest and reasonable, but I wanted you to come to Vegas with us. All right. Detonation Gaming, the final team in the APAC region. They've suggested Rita, Zinfree, Anthem, and Takashe. I'm buying. Just like that, I'm buying, baby. I'm in. I am in. Ren, what are your notes telling you?
My notes that I made last night.
You're not on board?
No, I'm not on board, because Detonation Gaming have come in and they're the second, they're one of 2 Japanese teams in the APAC partnership system for next year. And so Zeta Division were not making any changes really or any upgrades, which means the world was your fucking oyster in terms of talent you could pick up from Japan if you wanted to go down that road. And instead, it's a little bit odd. They picked up Zenfree, no like great player. Anthem, I think, has it. Anthem's, I believe, like a duelist player, hasn't really played at the very tippity top highest level, but. You know, you've got quality players on Crazy Raccoons as well, and outside of that, the other players on North Eption that you could have picked up to try and find upgrades for on Detonation Gaming, if you're just trying to go for a predominantly Japanese roster. But are they even trying to do that? Because they've got Soldam, who's a Korean player, who's their 6th player, who hasn't played in over a year as well, which I just don't really understand. You've got a backup player which implies that you might want to go for a mixed roster later down the line, but you kind of don't. It doesn't feel cohesive to me, the way that they've built this, and it also doesn't feel like they're buying in entirely or doing a good job of picking up talent. Like, Neff is a talent who I think has been left off the list, honestly. The fact that this guy hasn't been picked up by Detonation Gaming, I think, is a huge miss, because that guy has proven himself over and over again, and he hasn't been picked up, at least as of yet. So I find that this team has gone in a weird direction overall. You know, there's good players that they could have picked up, but they haven't.
I think that's fair, but I'm also just I am happy with the players that they have on the roster. What do you think, Seth?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're familiar faces. You know, the players that we've seen, you know, quite a bit of in the past. I mean, I got to cast a lot of these guys in the LCQ, and they lost to K1, I think, the other Chinese org that was in the tournament. I don't know. I could see there being a level of potential here. I also love Suggest as a player, but unfortunately, like, his stint in Japan hasn't been as fruitful as I would like. You know, it just hasn't been as good as those good old New Turn days. For me, this is a pretty easy just sell. I would just dodge this one. I don't know. I think that there's definitely some potential there. Maybe they can surprise me, but I also think that at best, I think that Detonation is going to end up being middle of the pack.
Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bryn's highlighted of Neff not making it in here is actually a really good point, because like they did have their pick of the litter in terms of like in a way, obviously competing with Zeta Division in terms of like Japanese talent, and that's like a pretty key player to be missing from a roster like this. Now, obviously, I don't know what their exact roster building stratagem was, and what went behind the scenes to build this, but. It doesn't seem. It seems like a solid pieces. It's just nothing that I'm like. Am I gonna put them on the tier of like a Zeta Division in the same like region where they're coming from? Right? Like, no, you're definitely not. And they're having to compete against like DRX. They're having to compete against PaperX. They're having to. I mean, who even knows about like potentially like, you know, what we're gonna see from like the fucking Xerxia Core and even like Team Secret and shit. Like, so overall, like. I don't find this roster to be like necessarily particularly exciting, so I would not cop.
I think that we should also point out, like, he wasn't on the graphic, but Soldam is on this roster, and I think that that's maybe a decent reason why Wyatt immediately lunged in with his wallet at the ready.
That is part of it. That is part of it. I also, though, specifically the three, Zinfree, Takashe, and Reda, I like all of those guys a lot. So that's kind of why I'm buying in. I'm also in my fucking theoretical investing world brain. I feel like this is just not going to be a hot commodity team. I'll buy low.
Yeah,
I'll buy low, and then I think they have potential to exceed the expectation. Which, you know. Please allow me to shift the goalposts here. Allow me to move those goalposts substantially. Where previously, when I'm talking about the teams, I'm like, will they be in the top half? I don't know. I don't think these guys will probably at best maybe around the middle. But yeah, I feel like they're going to be really underrated. So I kind of just want to. So fuck it, I'm buying. I feel like I've seen some really good games from Raider recently, and I think more than anyone, I really like Zinfree.
Zinfree's good.
So listen.
Yeah,
this is my punt. Yeah, this is my certified punt.
Listen, I respect it. Zinfree's a good player, but the point that I just can't get out of my head is like Detonation Gaming. I think are like the 4th best team in Japan, arguably, right? Because you're thinking of Crazy Raccoon, North Eption, and Zeta, who would be above.
They lost the last opponent like Jadeite or something.
I don't know.
can't remember.
I don't know exactly, but they're not one of the best teams in Japan. And say the division aren't making any changes, you have an open field in terms of talent that you can pick and choose from. There's no reason for you to stay with the same core of this team that you're going with here. Like the former core of, was it Reject? Yeah, it was Reject.
Yeah,
is
it
what
was
I'm thinking of.
Reject, yeah.
I keep calling them Detonation Gaming, but Reject is the core that they built around. There's no reason to do that. You have your pick of the litter. You can go in other directions, and it feels like they don't know what they want to do. You know, they've got Soldam on the bench. They got as it suggests as well, who's also Korean. So it's you want a mixed roster,
They're
but
gonna lose like 2 of their first games, bring in Soldam, and go fucking bananas.
He might not be on the bench. It's just how I made the graphic.
He
People are
hasn't played in a
very
year.
upset about Detonation Gaming and the graphic being slightly off, even though our notes state that we have sold him and we've been talking about him the whole time. So
yeah,
who knows?
I think Soldam hasn't played in a year as well. Pull up his VLR.
Yep.
Why? I don't understand
I mean,
why.
he took a.
Dude,
That's not just Soldam.
if we pull up Soldam's VLR, the guy hasn't played in like a year as well. I just
Has it
don't.
really been that long?
I think it's been a long
I mean,
time.
he like took
That's
he like stepped back after when he was on Northeption 2021. They failed to qualify for
Yeah, I
champions
guess you're right. It really has been
because
that
they lost the
long.
full
Yeah, it's been a
sense.
year. Yeah, this
Full sense. Yeah, they lost the full sense, and then he basically stepped away from there. Yeah, he played for a team Isakaja, which just means team like let's move.
Yeah.
In the shot val tournament.
it just it I don't know. It feels like they're not trying as much. It just feels like they're not trying as hard. I don't know. I'm not keen on them.
All right. That is all of the teams for APAC for the buy or sell. Which player got snubbed for VCT 2023? How do you want to do this, Kurt? With the
I need to go to the bathroom, so don't pick me.
okay, we're gonna not pick Brent because he's going to the bathroom. Connor, you can go. Like, dude, Connor, we'll put you in the hot seat.
A hot seat.
Yep.
You know, honestly, there's so many fucking players that it's like really hard to like. It's hard to like
I struggled
100%.
with this.
It's very hard, like legit. And also, there are so many players that like that got snubbed that like when I was thinking about all the rosters, like sometimes I legitimately like forgot like holy shit, where is this guy at? Like for like even though I remember like they're actually a fantastic player when Brim brought up a player, it's like wait, where the fuck is Neth? On like one of the Japanese squads, you know, I was like, God damn, that's actually an incredibly good point. Like, it's crazy. Where was Scary? Where the fuck is he? But I ended up going with like a much more, mostly because I did this about 2 hours ago. I picked BCJ.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
that's. I think that's a good easy. I mean, I also picked BCJ.
Oh, there we go.
I also picked the big guy because
The big guy himself.
BCJ, I think proved more importantly than anything that he has what it takes on LAN in front of a crowd against top tier competition, and XSET had their best performance yet, and he was an instrumental part of that, and he's just not on a team, which is crazy to me. I mean, because I feel like if you look at all the teams that did really well at champions, I can't think of another player that had as good of a performance. And from a crowd at an event that is just not in. So
And also had been consistently good up to that point as well. Like he had been consistently very good. Like obviously not necessarily like having those same highs, but he's always been a very, very rock solid player, like a foundational player for that team. So it's kind of strange that he did not make it. And also the other thing that elevated him a bit was that BCJ was the most interesting player on what I consider the most boring team with XSET. So
we're not doing this again. We're not.
I know.
Down
I'm not supposed to do
Connor,
that.
we know you.
But-
we know you think XSET is boring.
I know.
We're not going
But it doesn't
down
matter.
this
It doesn't
fucking
matter.
path.
The team, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
We
yeah.
both went with BCJ.
The thing is, we both went BCJ mostly because like A, he was a good pick, but B, I also did this like 2 hours before the show started, so like I didn't get to pick some of my more esoteric picks. Like for example, I actually might have picked Scary if I had more time to think about this, but I just didn't. So
Yeah, I mean, Scary's a good shout too. I thought I heard rumors and rumblings that he was going to be on the team though. So I
BCJ,
wasn't
you mean?
sure.
Or
No, Scary.
Scary?
But anyhow,
Scary.
Brent,
I mean, isn't the story basically like Scary is less snubbed and more has like elected to go towards an Ascension team?
Oh, is that what
don't
it
know.
is?
I'm unsure.
Am I just like jet lagged that I'm just
I don't know.
losing
I don't know,
it?
dude.
Yeah.
I
feel
saw
like I read that.
I saw like an unverified tweet from an unverified, unreliable source, and just put the information in my brain and let it fester. So I don't know if what I'm saying might just be total bullshit. So Brian, who did you pick?
I went with, unless the news has changed, I went with Valen. I mean, there were rumors that he was going to be playing for EG, but I don't think it's confirmed by any means. But if Valen doesn't make it in, I think that, man, that's a missed opportunity, because I think IGLs of Valen's caliber are few and far between. The guy is a stellar controller player on top of it as well, which also few and far between in terms of players that can fulfill that role. So I feel like he should be in the partnership system. I mean, EG would be, I guess, the next team that would make sense for him to join, if he was to join any. But as of yet, it's not confirmed, so he's still applicable for me to include in my which players got snubbed, even though he might be playing. I don't know. But yeah, Valen, cracked player, fantastic IGL. I think all quality, just features that you want in a player, to be honest. So I'll be very, very shocked if he doesn't make the partnership system in some way or form.
Definitely. Seth, who have you got?
Sorry, I was just checking a thing. Yeah, Scary's on bleed, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So he's in Ascension playing
So,
on bleed.
That's
Either way, I still can be upset. Even logically, he made his choice, right? You know, I can still be upset.
But it's not categorically a snub. I was really torn on this one. I was going a couple different ways in my head, and okay, so this was kind of my debate one. So this isn't like the legit answer, I guess, but Zunba, because he has been snubbed by his military service. This guy is so damn good at the game, and it sucks that when we're getting into the more stable format and whatnot, that we end up losing him. I love Zimba. I have loved casting him and watching him play, whether it's Overwatch back in the Apex era or here in Korean VCT. He has always been a treat to watch. He's one of the most just like innovative. I almost said innovative, like I'm a Brit. One of the most innovative controller and smoke players that I've seen, and I feel like it's a damn shame that we don't get to see him. I don't know if Kurt has it, but my other follow-up for a very real answer would actually be Sylvan from WGS, who was the only reason that there was ever any hope for WGS to basically ever win anything, because he put that team on his back and was just an incredible IGL or not the IGL for the squad, but just an incredible player for the team. And he was just like, when they picked him up, it was like, oh my God, this team might actually be good now. And for certain times, they were.
Gotcha. That's a deep cut. I'm not familiar.
I agree with your Zumba, though.
Zumba, for sure. Didn't really think about it, but true.
Military service getting in the way of it obviously means he can't play. But I was thinking that when I was looking at all these APAC teams, I was like, where are the upgrades that they could pick from?
Yeah.
And Zumba came to mind, and I didn't know why he wasn't playing or getting playtime, but military service makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, any other, just really quick before we go on break, any other quick names you want to throw out there? If anyone else would feel like kind of got snubbed? I mean, all the guard guys are sticking together for Ascension, it looks
what's going on with Baby Bay and Dicey?
I mean, that's another, phase.
Yeah, I want to know where the fuck Dicey is at, too. And Baby both. I mean, both those players, yeah.
That is, very true.
There's an endless list.
Yeah.
What was that?
So there's an endless list.
There's a fairly endless list of
there really
players.
is.
I mean, people are going to say Lakia, where's Lakia going? What's he doing? Etc.
I mean, the Lakia cultural zeitgeist is a bit, it's lost a bit of steam. It's not the Lakia's movement has lost. Lakia heads have reduced in number a bit since the peak Lakia moments.
For sure.
I'd say.
All right, Bala TW says that the FaZe players aren't getting snubbed; they're getting scammed by FaZe because they're locked in contract hell.
Well, that is kind of snubbed. Wow, not snubbed, because snubbed would imply they're not getting looked at in the first place. But
so it sounds like they're in contract.
Yeah, they are getting
Bala, let's discuss this then. Bala's put the point out to the open. Hey, let's discuss this. Are you getting? Like you said, you're not getting snubbed, but I just want to bring if a team holds their players under contract to the point where like they can't even make it into a roster in a timely manner, like, is that fucked up, or did the org exercise its right as a contract holder? You know.
I mean, they definitely exercise their, what
I think it's
they're
fucked
allowed
up.
to do. Doesn't mean it's great, but
Yeah,
Why not both?
I would say that is unethical to a degree.
But also, is it a bad business move too? Is it?
Probably
no,
not.
it's not a bad business move, but good business moves don't have to be ethical.
True. It's just more so like think about it. I'm thinking about the aspect as well of like, if you hold people under contract, Joe, to the point where like you're even the date is getting so late that it's likely they might not even get like bought out, right? You're just continuing just to hold them for the sake of holding. Would that not be an inherently bad move potentially for business? Because then it's like any player that you sign in the future and like on deadlines to be like, well, there's no guarantee they'll ever release me in a manner that makes sense. You're literally just doing it punitively.
Bad will
almost.
for anyone else who might sign to that team in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why most teams will make, like, most teams, even if their contracts will lock them in for a good period of time, most team managers will want what's best for the players, always. Like, even if it's bad for the team itself, they'll still let them probably explore other options. That's why most teams do that, because otherwise it's just, you're just locking the players away.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go on a few-minute break, and then we'll be back for a way too early tier list. See you in a couple minutes.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
I think we'll probably end up... You want to move the last two topics for next week, Kurt?
Yeah, we can do that.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. So
Because
we're going to
it's-
spend some time. So we were planning on talking about the Superdome tournament and the Game Changers Championship, but we can push both those back to next week.
Game Changers is not until like middle of November, so we got time. We can do it next episode.
Yeah, good idea.
I have to be awake in 5 hours, so that sounds great.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of you as well, Seth, because you're fucking. It's
always
like
thinking
4
of you,
a.m. in
Seth.
Korea.
I love my bros.
That's why I'm going to be shouting you out a
Thank you,
lot when we
Seth.
live stream your wedding.
I can't wait to be surrounded by all of you in Korea, and we can go eat some copious amounts of raw fish.
Of raw fish, yeah. Well, or cooked, even cooked fish potentially.
Yeah, but the raw or the better.
The raw is better. I mean, anything that's good for content. So Brendan and I can stream it.
Yeah. Anyway,
If there
thanks
weren't-
for watching.
If there weren't
everybody.
like a bunch of
No, I'm
Yeah.
just filling in air. What's up, Seth?
I was just gonna say, if there wasn't gonna be a bunch of like family members on my wife's side that I've never met before at the wedding, I would say yes, screw it, go ahead, live stream it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those that just tuned in or missed out on what we were doing, we are going to be doing a tier list of all of the partnership teams. Obviously, this is way too early to have an accurate representation of how they will perform, but we're gonna throw together a tier list, and then people that spend too much time on the internet will get mad about it, and that's how we make our money. So
Please
we'll start
keep
that
being
soon.
terminally online and angry.
Thank you.
Yes.
We need you.
We're here to feed the outraged machine.
Yeah, I don't feel alive unless I'm getting verbally assaulted every day.
Yeah, true.
Gets the blood flowing. That's why I always open Twitter first thing when I wake up.
Dude, this royalty-free music goes crazy.
It actually does
Kinda
go a little
does.
hard.
Yeah.
It's kind of what is it? It feels like a synthwave type of vibe.
It is. It's a 2-hour synthwave mix. LA Sunset.
Oh, nice. I've been really into that recently.
Oh, I think I have used that on my stream.
Hell yeah.
Does anyone else
Definitely not
like?
the right vibe, but you could use the 9 Inch Nails as a couple free license albums. but I don't know if that quite
what are you
matches
doing?
the
No, you're just
vibe.
I'm stretching, dude. My shit is fucked up right now. I'm not
I was
gonna
about to
lie.
say, it looks like you're taking a shit on your chair.
No. Like my shit. Like I did like leg day like about a day or two ago, and I have like that super bad
Patchy base.
delayed, onset
Realign
muscle
your
sort of the
spine.
DOMs. But then the problem is that while I was doing it, I was doing I was doing some calf raises, and then like I had a little bit too much weight on the bar, and then my lower back kind of like crumpled a bit while I was doing it, and now I like twinged, and so now I'm like everything is stiff. Everything's very stiff, but it's okay.
All right, at least you're getting thick though. Yeah, getting.
No, I'm actually not. The problem is I'm too soy, so I'm never really gonna get thick. But like that's not the goal. The goal is to be slim. The goal is to be slim and fit,
healthy.
not thick.
You're
exactly.
trying to appeal to the male gaze or the female gaze.
I don't know. Whoever wants to look at me, go right ahead, I guess. But I mean, generally, I would say, I mean, I can't really deny you if you're gonna look at me, like whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Witness me.
I'm
That's
glad-
not what I asked, but okay.
Let's do the tier list.
Let's do the tier list. The
It's
2023. How is this going to work? I fucking hate tier lists. I hate power rankings
it's
so
a
much.
We're just doing a dumbass. We're doing a silly tier list that's way too early. Just because why not?
Yes!
Wait, at the end of the year, we should do a tier list of our tier lists.
That's
Sure.
That's a good idea.
Which tier list
Yeah.
was your favorite?
That's not bad.
All right.
How does this work, though?
It's an honest tier list. Like S, A, B, C, D.
Oh, doing it like
An
this.
honest tier maker tier list. Just how we're feeling.
Yeah.
Little temperature
Oh,
check on the franchise team.
It's for every team. I
Yeah,
thought that this
this
we're
is
gonna
fucking
speed run the
variety.
We're not
APAC
gonna
ones
go-
because we
listen.
just talked about them.
Yeah, we just talked
All
about
right, all
APAC,
right.
so we're gonna start with them. That's easy. All right, Detonation Gaming.
DRX S tier.
Yeah, DRX
Well,
goes in the S, I
okay, we'll
agree.
start with DRX.
Oh my god.
Easy
okay.
S. That's a super easy S tier.
Yeah, that's
Detonation
fair.
Gaming, C or D. They're
I
falling
don't
numbers,
know
right?
about DRX being an S. I'm immediately throwing this up.
What are you talking about? They've got to be an
Bren?
S. What are you talking about? What are you talking
I
about?
get it.
they
can
did.
rescind your
I just
wedding
want.
invitation.
We brushed over it so quickly. I need to know. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right, great.
I agree.
All right.
Detonation, C or
Detonation
D.
Gaming, a D has to be D for me.
I'm going.
I think the rest of this list looks fine.
No. Whoa. Calm down. Calm down here. Okay. I think Zeta is a solid, like, I think it's probably a solid B at least. I think it's probably a B.
Yeah, Zeta or B.
I'd give them
Yeah.
A.
That's too high.
Okay.
Right? Now we're going.
You think that's too high?
They're middle.
I don't know.
they're gonna be middle.
I'm kind of conflicted because on one hand I think Zeta has been pretty good, but like I don't know if I necessarily want to put them A. I know they're at least B. I know that for sure.
I'd be willing to concede on A because I was harsh on them earlier, and then kind of disregarded the fact that they just got bodied by Loud twice in the groups. And
I
bodied
think you
is
give
even
them-
a strong word.
Yeah, they took
I-
maps. They
Cut
have
some
good
slack,
stuff.
man. I think you give them an A.
Yeah,
I-
Yeah, sure.
I'll
give him an A. I'll give him. I like Zeta.
Here's
I'll
what's
love to
gonna-
give him an A.
all right, we're
So,
gonna put
yeah.
them in A, and then I guarantee you, once we put up all the NA and EU teams, we're gonna want to move them down to B.
Probably, but
But that's fine. We'll put them in A. Let's keep moving. Detonation Gaming, C or D?
D.
I'm doing
D.
C.
I think
Seth,
D
D or C?
for them. Yeah.
I'd go C, but if I'm being outvoted.
All right, C.5.
Who's below them?
Rex Regim Quantum.
Sure, but I mean, yes.
That's fine.
I
We
mean,
can
also
leave them in
them
D.
and
We'll leave
and
Rex Regim
Secret.
Quantum in D.
Yeah, I think
Global
Rex-
Esports, C or D?
I give it C for the potential.
I'm giving
for
it-
the upwards the
I'm
I'm
potential
giving
is
it a
there.
D. I'm giving it a D. But
no,
you know,
no.
I'll allow that.
It's a C,
It's so,
bro. It's a
so
C.
wild.
I can't
I
get
just
sent an
put it- I put
essay
it C.
and then not fight tooth and nail for
Well,
this one.
okay.
High risk, high reward.
If they're C though, then
Put 'em
you
in C.
are they going to beat Detonation
I
Gaming
think-
and Rex Regim Quantum?
yeah, I think they got a higher floor than those two teams.
I think they probably do as well. Probably.
So C.
So
I mean, I think you
I'm
can.
cool
But
with
the thing is,
C.
you can beat those teams and still be in the same tier.
Yeah,
Like, I think
keep it
those
running.
teams-
We might change it a
Okay,
little.
We'll
okay.
adjust it later. We'll adjust it later.
All right,
when
Team
we go.
Secret
sure.
also.
That should be a C. I think that should be a C. I don't think it should be D.
I'd put them in D.
Think so?
Yeah.
B?
No.
No, not B.
No.
No,
I
they're not
think
B.
C.
They're not
I
B.
think C.
Like D.
I won't fight if we want to put them in D. I'm not going to fight
Top
over it.
of
I
D.
don't think they should
Alright.
be like. Comparatively to some of the others, I don't think they're as bad. You know.
Top of D.
I think they're C.
I'm feeling.
I think they'd be C. If you're going to put global in C, Team Secret should be in C.
Yeah.
Fine. Talon.
Talon's easily like in the C to B tier
Top D,
for sure.
I would say.
No.
With the
Dude, they're
Xerxia
not below
core?
secret.
No
Wait, hold on,
way.
what's
I
No,
think they're
no,
top
hold on.
C. That's the Patty Pan team.
Yeah, that's top.
That's
That's,
the
top
Pat-
D,
Below
You
C, bro.
are with the
I-
Xerxia core?
bro. They,
put them
Padawan's not
top
going to be
C.
playing. They've got untested players in the team.
No, but they're not untested. They still have Sushi Boys, Fox, and Cruz, who've all been
That
great
and
player performances.
that's good.
that's
All
a C.
but
That
no-
there's no way they're below C. There's no way.
Bottom
Yeah,
C.
Bruh. They've consistently made every event in secret. Of
Like
not been
honestly,
doing
I
well.
think
think
that's
they'd be better
I
than
think that's
Secret,
unfair.
actually.
I
Put
think they
Secret
should be
down.
B. They
Right?
should be B. They should 100% be B.
They shouldn't be in. Oh my god! Fine, we'll
They
put
should
it there.
100% be
No. I'm gonna I'm
We
gonna
can
allow
adjust
them
it.
to
We
be
can
in
adjust
B.
it. We can adjust it.
I'm gonna allow them to be in B, just so when we put up the other teams, Connor's gonna feel like, oh.
Okay, I'll
that was
probably
so
end up changing
silly
that.
I
I'll
put them in
probably
B.
end up taking him out of B. But I won't. D is too low. D is too low for that team.
I mean,
D is 100%
ridiculous.
too low.
All right,
Yeah.
T1,
T1 is fucked. I mean, I'm okay. So T1, I think it's like
top of B.
you.
Yeah,
it's got to
B.
be B. It's
Top
got to
of
be
B.
B.
Top
It's got to
of
be
B
B.
right now.
Yeah.
Talon, what are they
It's got to
doing?
be B.
What do you mean? What are they doing there?
And
They're not
then
below. not
Gen.G, I think, right?
Yeah, you want to go Gen.G?
Gen.G up there.
I'd put Gen.G.
Bottom
I'd
B.
put Gen.G top of B.
Top B
personally.
above T1.
Yes.
Above T1 and
Okay.
Yes.
I will give them a B. I don't really care how we I'll give them a B status, but I'm not confident, but I'll give them a B status. Sure.
I don't know if
Give 'em
that.
a B.
I think Gen.G genuinely could be in the B tier, but there's just some unknowns. Like if I knew what everybody was playing, I would probably be able to slot them into B, but or into A. But I'm happy to put them in B.
A.
I think they could.
No,
I think
no,
that they can. I think that this
No
team
way.
can achieve that.
I
but
do-
right now,
here's the thing,
given the information, top B.
I do feel you on that, Seth, but I don't know if because they have. I feel like they're neck and neck with T1 in B because T1, lest we forget, they still have like Zeta, Ban,
Awesome.
Saya.
Like T1's
Ultimate
roster
I mean,
is
but also-
better across the board currently than Gen.G's, other than
I
the
want
one
T1 above
unannounced.
I want
GOAT.
T1 ahead of Gen.G.
Yeah,
That's what I
T1
want.
looks better than Gen.G.
Well,
I don't know if I'm on board.
I think they do. Aside from like they have Meteor and they have Meteor, who's
Meteor's
like a nut.
he's worth like 3 people.
Dude, lest we forget the GOAT.
yeah, the GOAT.
but that's what I'm saying. The
That is
goat,
some
the goat
wacky
could
shit.
change.
Good
this.
point. The GOAT. Put him in C.
No,
Dude, they
no,
still had Zeta and
no.
Ban and Saya players.
No.
Shit.
No,
Come on,
no.
bro.
No, their
Come
roster,
on, bro.
like their roster looks better. It's just that Gen.G has Meteor.
The
So
confusion this must be causing amongst the viewers.
I think this is.
It's delicious.
I can accept this, though I am very on the fence with the Gen.G T1. I think they're really close. But I can accept one. I can accept this. Okay, do we want to just go in order from the logos at the bottom,
Are
Kurt?
we missing
That's
anybody from APAC? Yeah, Paper X.
Paper X.
yeah, we need to do
bottom-
Paper X. Yeah.
Bottom
Where are
left.
they? Oh, yeah. I mean,
S. I think.
it's either S or A, right?
Not
It's
in front-
gotta
they're not
be-
in front
they
of the
can't be
RX.
lower than
They're
A.
They're not in front of the RX.
Yeah, I mean, they're bottom of S if they're an S tier, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely in the top half. We know that much. So they're either S or
Yeah,
A.
we can,
leave them
we
S
can
or
make
top
some
half.
we
Yeah,
can make some
yeah.
adjustments, but that should be APAC done,
Yeah.
right?
But that's,
All right.
that's pretty fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10. All
We
right.
want to just go in order here. Cloud9, easy fucking S.
S.
S. Yeah. You got
Some
yeah.
would say. I
Probably
would,
should be
I
an
would
S.
put them in
Yeah.
between.
I think that's fair.
Fair.
honest,
Yeah, I'll give that a
sure.
fair.
and reasonable. The evil geniuses.
I will kind of concede to you guys on this one.
I would give them a B.
They're yeah, I would say like they're sitting around the B.
Bottom
Okay.
B, I think.
Yeah.
Just- I don't know what the fuck they're doing with the roster still. They're still picking
yeah, I
up
mean, they're
players,
rumored to
man.
have Superman or Valen, and then Ethan.
Yeah, I really
Lucio,
did rate
Giorgimo,
EG. Oh,
Tom.
goodbye, Seth.
there he goes.
Sorry,
No.
just dealing with something off camera.
Oh, okay.
The
The I
the voice
Sorry.
from the void.
It's okay.
This
You
guy
got
came
replaced
in.
by Fern.
Apparently, I'm hooked up into somebody else's Ethernet. It's a really weird situation. Anyway, continue.
You're good.
I just don't really know where I stand right now with VG because we don't know what the whole roster really looks like at the moment. And the players that they do have were good in some circumstances, but couldn't quite make deep runs when it mattered most. So I would say bottom B for now.
I'm okay with that.
Fnatic, S.
Gotta be.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
S.
I think that's a team
Easy
that
S.
should be aiming for the fucking top spot, to be honest.
Yeah.
At least from the early glimpses that we've seen of them.
Super easy S.
Very
Furia,
fair.
I'm going B.
But are they top S?
I'm going B. I would say B
Furia.
and ahead of EG and Talon. Like around there. And I think they're going to be around Gen.G, around T1. Who's on
I
for
think that's
Djazine, Mazin, MW0, Khalil, and Quick. And I think Furia
think
have
that's fair.
shown that they are a strong team despite their losses at the international events. They play against goated teams in their group stage, but they still play well. They just brought in an MW. Djazine is super good.
I agree.
I think they're just they're like B,
yeah,
middle
I
of
agree.
the pack
I agree
B
with
right now. What's that?
Footballist?
Footballist.
Who the fuck's on football?
What is their roster again? I'm trying to remember.
Footballist is UW1, Mr. Fallon, Caraxis, Ata Captain, Maj. Dude, I don't know shit about the Turkish scene.
okay,
I don't know
maybe-
anything about the scene.
Like, I mean, but they've had some okay results, haven't they, in EMEA?
I
like
thought
some of these
did I
players.
buy this team when I was on for 30 minutes when I derailed everything?
so.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see this roster, so I
The
don't
thing
remember.
is, the reason I put them so low immediately is because from what I've seen, it's essentially the same roster as last year, but this is the best of the best. And
Yeah, put
they're
them in
just not.
top D,
Okay.
Top D.
I think.
See, I would even say
Do you
top
think they're
C,
gonna?
because
Yeah, I
they're
was gonna say, do
playing
you really
against
think
much better
they're?
they're playing against
Yeah.
good,
Okay.
good enough, good European teams versus playing against newly formed teams that have made some questionable roster decisions. They've got to be above the questionable
Yeah,
roster
I feel like
decision
they'd
newly
be
formed teams.
sitting in that tier.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. They invited me to their team house, and that was kind of them. So C seems correct.
Did you go?
No.
God damn it. Okay, who's next? Giants.
What?
Dude, every
Giants?
time
I'm
I
not
come,
getting invited back on the show.
every time I come downstairs into the kitchen, Kurt's like, dude, this new Giants roster.
Bro, I'm
Telling you. Kurt is a
EMEA.
big fan of Giants.
There's just a hole in my memory of EMEA.
Dude,
it doesn't exist as a region.
Giants
Because they have no clout.
They have Hoodie and Nookie.
Yeah, they have Rhyme, Cloud, Hoodie, Nookie, and Fatinho. And Fatinho is a savage, too. I would say A tier. I'm giving Giants an A tier.
Sure, I'll give you an A.
Wait
So long as there's not some kind of personality clash and implosion, this team should be
I need
good.
Flynn's spreadsheet. I need
Yeah,
to pull this
that's
off
what
my
that's
phone.
what I'm looking at right now. Shout out to Flynn for being the
Okay.
master of the spreadsheets.
Yeah, I like that team. Where did we put them?
A.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay.
This
Complaints?
is another concession
We're
from
good
me.
on that. Is that Carmine Corp or Koi? That's Carmine Corp, right?
That's Carmine. Yeah, that's Carmine Core.
S tier for fandom.
I mean, they have Scream. Supposedly, they have Scream Navera Enzo as like, and then XMS.
They
Right?
I
Oh no,
don't-
no, yeah. That is what they're thinking. Yeah.
Enzo.
I think that team is middle B. Is how that's what I'm
'Cause
getting off of that team, I think.
Roster them.
Because I rate
You're not feeling
Enzo.
that, you're not even feeling middle B?
I'm feeling. That's what I mean.
Oh.
That's what I mean. Sorry, like about middle B. I
Do you
feel
think
like
they'd
I
be
should
worse than Furia?
I think they'd be better than Furia.
Probably.
I think they'd be on par. I think that the B tier, you'd have teams, I think, taking wins against each other. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think realistically, I think they should be
PIGL.
probably top B. I mean, they still have Scream and Navera, and Enzo is listed. According to the spreadsheet, at least Enzo is listed as a sub, but they still have Scream and Navera, and then some kind of question mark players who have not played at the highest level in XMS, Nuzira, and Shin. XMS has some fucking bananas stats in tier 2 at least, but I guess I kind of just have them in line with the top B teams. I guess they're just around there,
I mean, I'll give him a B though. I'll give him a B. Yeah.
like top B, which feels like it feels like an underrate, but I don't.
I think
But
you
the
put
thing
them
is-
below T1 and Gen.G.
That feels like I feel like it's an underrate.
Leave them right there.
Yeah, I think they're okay
right
there, personally. But, I mean,
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Listen, the goal of this is to piss off as
Actually,
many
maybe
fans as
Fury in front
possible,
of
and
them.
I think that would do that.
That would. We
So-
piss off the French and we piss off the Brazilians. If
Exactly.
We do this one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
let's do
I don't
it.
think we're pissing off the Brazil. I mean, I think Fury is exactly where they need to be honest. Koi, which is Trex. Dude, I fucking love Trex.
Oh,
They have
this-
Trex, Starzo, Shados, Coldamenta, and Wolfen. That's got to be A tier.
I think that's top A.
I mean, that's a pretty nasty roster.
That's
I mean,
a
it's a
solid
nasty
A-tier
roster.
There's some
roster.
nastiness occurring with that roster.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that roster could. There's a chance that roster could theoretically, in the right conditions, break into like the S. Maybe.
Yes.
But I'm
Yeah.
just looking at-
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, they got
yeah.
Baba as a coach. Bro, I love that. I love watching that guy in a coach cam. He's
Yep. Yeah, he does fucking
popping off.
he does get hyped. Yeah, that is a nasty roster. And if goddamn, yeah, I mean if Shados is in fucking Trados form, that's just a good that could crack S tier. But yeah, I think top A is pretty reasonable for that. Crew. Sean D, Davies, Klaus, Melser, Nags.
I'm feeling it's in the B's.
I'd go C.
I feel like if they were in the B's though, I think I would.
No, they
suggest-
don't have no. They don't have
They
Mazzino
don't
or
have
Keznit anymore. They don't have Mazzino
Yeah.
or Keznit anymore. Yeah, no, never mind.
I think that's.
I
I think we're.
I
No,
think
but
you could put
Shandy
them-
is a fucking great player.
Yeah, Shandy's great.
he is.
But
But they've lost. I think losing. I honestly
lost
think losing
two.
Mazzino is like an even bigger. Is almost a bigger blow to them
Mazzino's
because of how
great.
Mazzino is just so fucking good.
I'd put them C, maybe below footballist.
I kind of like where Kurt had him, just because they have the international experience still.
Yeah.
They've got
I
tenured
would-
players in that regard. That I'm cool with them being top C. But yeah, with this
Sure.
roster right now, I'm not.
I'm not bothered enough by it. So.
When I'm looking at the teams above them, I'm just not thinking. Yeah, I think Kurt put him in the right spot. I think. What is that? Leviatán.
Leviatán.
Leviatán?
It's
I
it's
mean-
either an A or a B. I think.
Definitely A.
It's in one of those. Yeah.
I think
Bottom A.
100% A.
Bottom
I
A.
think they
It's
have
gotta
to
be
go
over
A, and I'd put them in front of Zeta.
Why?
Because they're
in
better
front of
than
Zeta. Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a. I could acknowledge that.
I think they got to
Yeah.
be above Zeta. They've just.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I don't think that's unreasonable at all.
I mean, I also.
They finished top 8 in
Believe I-
champions. They destroyed in the
I
group
also
stage.
think I said Zeta for B tier, but you know.
Also,
Yeah,
they picked up two
okay.
big, honestly, two
Okay.
big upgrade pieces. Like Mazzino is a huge piece for them to get, and I think
Listen,
Keznit, if he plays,
cool
with
is
Keznit,
big.
yeah.
I'm of the
Yeah.
mind that I'm not going to
I-
fight too hard at this because I fucking hate.
I mean, it's
power
also
rankings
just
and tier
chaos.
lists.
It's
fucking
absolute chaos and
I'm
nonsense.
willing to go with the flow of this. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, this is an interesting one, actually. Loud. I feel like they still
We
got to
don't
be an
even
S tier,
know
but they have two
half
new
their
players.
roster, right?
Well, yeah. So it's Ospa, Sodhawk, Les, the remaining core. I mean, 3 fucking goated players. And then they brought in Kozin and Toys. Hopefully, that's how you somewhat pronounce their aliases. 2 talented young players, but obviously they're going to take some time probably to get up to loud god tier
Here's-
level. But that core
here's the
3
other
is
thing,
still so
though.
fire.
I don't think they
I mean,
should be
that
S.
core three is good, but then they also let go of the coach.
Yeah, Bazooka's.
Yeah.
I don't think on the team anymore.
Now they have.
I don't
For
think
me,
they should
that
be.
would drop them.
Yeah, I don't think they should be S tier. I think they should be A for sure because I am a Sadak stan, man. I fucking love that guy. I think he is a class player, great IGL, fucking great person to just have on the team to build around. And you've still got Aspas and who else?
Ospas and Les.
and
Yeah,
Les,
Les.
who
So-
fucking
And
roll.
Les. They-
No, dude, I think they got to be
They've
top
gotta
A without a doubt in my mind. But they lost Pancada, they lost Sassy, and so and Bazooka's not on a team anymore. When Bazooka literally, I mean, come on, I mean he won the Wyatt's Weekly Award.
There's still the thing. The thing is though, comparing them to some of the other teams in A, like the good new EU teams, I think they just still have the experience and the core to build from, and what they need to do, and I don't say all they need to do like it's an easy task, but they have one straightforward task in front of them: integrate 2 new
players. Yeah.
young players and get them acclimated and get them into an already existing fucking beast core. So
I'm gonna drop a take. I don't see why we would automatically put C9 into S tier and not this loud core into S tier.
Or
yeah, I think that's true.
I mean, why wouldn't we?
because I think the Cloud9 core just has unreasonable talent. You know, it's like they're just.
But does the loud not?
The loud players are good, but I just worry that they've changed up too many pieces. You know what I mean?
They changed up 2 pieces.
Yeah.
3 if you
Yeah,
got
they
coach.
did. But I mean, I think Pancada and Sassy are very difficult players to replace. When Sassy and Sadek have been working together for as long as they have, it's hard. You're basically what you're disrupting there is not only the synergy, but you also have lost your, I think, the best controller player you could have picked up in Brazil.
I mean,
So,
yes.
and your coaching staff has been completely
Fair.
changed as well. You're starting from a lower baseline, I think, but it's still top A. They're still a good team.
I don't see how they could not be an S if we're having Cloud9 and Paper Rex there. I'm kind of on board with Connor. Though I mean the Cloud9 roster should be god tier. They picked up fucking Yay.
Yeah,
But still, Cloud9 wasn't great last year. They signed Yay, the biggest roster signing you could possibly make, and they bring in Zelsis. And
Who was a good player,
versus
but also
Loud.
like isn't an automatic like S tier player. You know, I don't think by any means. Like he's a great player, someone you have in top echelons. But
Yeah.
like, is he automatic S tier type of player?
I mean, Cloud9 are S tier because Yay, and theoretically, like if Leaf is still Leaf and he's your second best player and you have Yay, I mean that's just gotta
If
be your S tier,
I'd be fine putting Loud. I'd be fine putting Loud down if you move C9 down, but I feel like that's sacrilege if
Oh,
they
dude,
have Yay.
There's no
So-
way.
That
Dude,
is.
Cloud9 are an S tier team with the players they've got, the caliber of players they've got. Pound for pound,
I
the
think
talent of
Loud should be.
Cloud9, I think, just alone deserves S tier. And then they've got MCE as well as a coach.
I feel here's what I'm thinking. Okay, I feel like you either put Loud ahead of Paper Rex in S tier, or you move Loud and Paper Rex to A tier with Loud in first.
I'd be happy with that. Making S tier like the tippity top, you know? Something hard to achieve. Let's make it like top 500.
I think Loud in first though, Kurt, above Paper
Yeah.
Rex.
I still feel like this is disrespectful to Loud.
I do too.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't agree with this.
But
Yeah.
A tier is still good teams. Why are we treating A tier like it's going to be the fucking bottom 50 percentile of the
But
league?
it's just because I'm comparing it to C9.
Give us some reasons, Seth. You haven't said much. I want to hear what you have to say.
I mean, I just feel like I feel like even with the baseline of Loud still being there, having that shift, having those younger players come in, it's enough to warrant a shift down. But I also don't care about power rankings, so maybe that's that bias seeping through a little
Seth,
bit.
if you want to get numbers, you're gonna have to start caring about power rankings, pal. Okay, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
start caring about them. Okay, this is how the
I need
world
to start
works. The
doing
real
pick'ems
world.
again, dude.
The real
That's what I
world.
need. Pick'ems is where it's at.
No, you're right. I mean, no, this is absolute nonsense. But that being said, in this absolute nonsense, I think I really, dude, Loud should be an S tier.
I'm happy with this. I
I'm
don't
not
think
satisfied.
so. I think the teams in S tier should be teams that are competing to fucking win it all. You know what I mean?
I
On
think
paper-
you could leave this as is.
Loud's got the core of the team just won champions,
Loud's
man.
path to being the best team in the fucking world was one that was arduous, that took a whole fucking year of development as well of those players, and they've replaced 2 of them, and they've got new coaches. They are not the team that is currently going to be fucking clamoring for that title at the tippity fucking top right now. They have to work their way back. They're not starting from the fucking bottom of the bottom. They're still A tier. A tier is still good. It's still fucking good.
That's true. That
People
I mean,
treat these fucking
I'm-
tier lists like if their favorite team isn't in S tier, they just treat it like they're gonna lose it all. No, it's not what I'm fucking saying. A tier is still good. Okay, fuck off.
We're gonna get so much engagement now that they're not S tier though. So I
let it be
appreciate-
known. Let it be
God.
known
I
that
mean-
Wyatt and I we stood resolute versus Britain's domineering
Bro,
attitude.
there are 30 fucking teams in the partnership system. Over 160 players. What, dude? It's A tier is still fucking good. You're in the top 10 percentile of the best
Here,
players
wait,
in
I
the
gotta go
fucking
argue
world.
over Ether.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
Well, I'd have them in S tier, but let's move on.
All right,
maybe not. Maybe
Nibier.
All right. He's back.
That's like C tier.
I think C below footballist is probably reasonable.
Sure.
Are we fine with that? Navi,
Yeah.
easy
Yeah.
S tier. They got to be the best, I think.
Yeah,
right now,
put them in there.
right? It's FPX
Yeah,
with CNET instead of Artis.
Yeah, I think they got to be at the tippity top. They've kept the core.
Yeah.
They've got CNET instead of Artis. They got to be at the tippity top.
I don't
Sam.
know. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Who are you arguing what for DRX, of course?
No, not even necessarily. I just don't think that Navi would be the top of S tier.
But who would be?
But who's above them? Fnatic
New
would be like
Fnatic
one of the only
roster.
other teams that are above them, but FPX, at least the FPX core, have got more deep runs.
I mean, well, here's the thing. I mean,
don't-
considering that DRX literally just beat this team and they've just like swapped out a player, wouldn't there not be an argument that DRX would? But I guess also we're just putting them in S tier. We're just slotting them in S, right? So, but like DRX literally
That's a
just
good
beat
point.
FPX
That is a good
at
point.
champs, and their
Well, that's the
roster
thing,
didn't
it's like,
change.
That's what I'm thinking. But also, like, granted, like the main thing that's hanging me up on this is that I didn't get to watch a ton of EU, and I didn't really see.
Don't worry, you're fitting right
much
here.
of CNET because he never fucking went anywhere in this last year. Like, did he have at least individually good performances despite the fact that the rest of the team was struggling?
Honestly,
CNET's still a great player.
He was okay this year. He was definitely
Yeah,
not,
I don't think he was the same.
He's definitely not
like,
2021 Charles Ned end of the year
Sure.
beast mode, but he still had some
Yeah.
good performances, but definitely not like 2021. But
I don't think that his addition and the loss of Artis, mind you, I think is actually fucking significant because I mean, Artis was incredible the year throughout and end at champions. I mean, near the end, obviously there was a little bit of a fall off for the entire team. But you definitely can't put them above
But
DRX.
when I think of
I'll
Navi, I think of the same stuff that we were talking about with TenZ, where we're same kind of discussion of not that Cena going to be a top 3 player again, but I mean along the same lines of I think TenZ in the right system can be a top 3 player in his
potential
region.
is there, sure.
And I think with the Navi core now being the old FPX players, there's no doubt in my mind that that system is fucking excellent to play in if you're a star player. You're going to get supported. You're going to be enabled. Like, there's no doubt in my mind about that. Artis was, dude, Connor, he's so disrespectful. This guy.
But can CNED play in an environment where his IGL is going to be dying 16 times first in a map?
Yeah. Angel is that special.
Is he going to be
player.
ready for the Angel treatment?
He's that
Can he
special a
handle
player,
it?
man.
dude, Seth, you're gonna make me put DRX in number 1. You're gonna make me act a fool and put DRX in number 1.
That would be fucking crazy.
I'm back on the fucking Korean opium train.
But Fnatic,
Top 3, baby.
Fnatic, don't get me
Fnatic
wrong.
have always
Fnatic
put together rosters that look good. They should be trophy chasers. They should be making it to those finals. And you know what always happens? They fall down flat on their fucking
No,
noses.
this is the time. They're going to do it. There should be an extra tier for Fnatic, honestly.
Always felt like
surely we
that.
should
Kurt,
be.
you don't have to be a zealot for Fnatic. We know it's over. We know it's not going to happen. Just put DRX in front.
Surely
Fnatic,
we should
we
be.
actually own a lot of the NFTs against your fan club, so we own a lot. So
Surely we should be
got a lot of
prioritizing
those.
teams that keep their existing core, especially if they've had good performances. I mean, DRX have had one recent very good performance outside of losing in 5th, 6th for every other
Yeah.
tournament. So I don't think DRX should be number 1, but I think Na'Vi should still be
Out of every other team in that list.
That's fine. I think
I
actually
guess-
that's fine. I think Navi
No,
second.
Sure.
I don't think Fnatic should be number 1.
I don't think that
Let's keep
Navi
going.
should be in front
NRG?
of DRX.
Let's just move past it. Let's move past it. for
NRG
now.
have to be somewhere in A tier.
Yeah.
Kurt
that's
may
fair.
have put them in the right spot. Though
I'm
think
okay
you
with
could
that,
argue
honestly.
for
I think
Kurt.
I think you
No.
could argue. I think you could argue Koi. You could potentially argue for like Koi, but like I think NRG's fine.
I think
to
they're
be,
I
like,
think they're good there.
fair.
I think
Yeah.
they have the same dilemma as teams like Loud. Don't agree with PaperX being an A, but that's okay. Overruled. But they have the same dilemma of Loud, where there's enough of a core there that you have to respect them, but enough pieces have changed that you've got to rank them a little bit lower, I think, than they otherwise would be.
Who all? Wait. We're doing NRG right now?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the FNS.
Who the fuck is on this team?
FNS Crashies and Victor, that core moving over, and then
Yeah.
they signed artists,
Okay.
and they still had Psalm from NRG
Yeah.
previous.
Okay, in that case, I'll allow it because I pulled up VLR and it just says Psalm and then 3 inactive players, and it's like, what is happening?
Yeah, that.
It's like, I know I heard something about this.
There's
roster
only
that
one
wasn't
holy
this.
spreadsheet, and it's Flynn's. Flynn's
Like-
spreadsheet is the holiest.
I'm like, it's just Psalm versus the world.
The spreadsheet.
I think
This
that,
is the holy spreadsheet.
I think that's a
I see.
fair spot, though, for the
Yeah,
energy.
I agree.
Because
That's
it's
fair
tough.
enough.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
but
when
those
you start-
guys. Yeah.
yeah, when you
I mean,
Got
that's
good
fine.
players, got a good core. Like they should definitely be competing in the A tier. So
Heretics, Kellogg's, Zeke, Boo, Avova, and Mixwell. I'm not really feeling this roster too much.
I'm not really feeling them either.
Maybe above Talon.
Yeah, I think above Talon.
I don't know.
I don't think
so?
Talon
Above
should
Talon?
be B as well, but
I
that's
feel
just
like
me.
we're really underrating the Xerxia core still. But if we're gonna call them that, everyone will be like, oh, they shouldn't be in B.
I think they should be below Crew in C.
After losing Mazzino and Keznit,
Yeah.
No.
I mean, this
There's
roster
no
just
fucking
doesn't
shot.
inspire confidence.
Kellogg's, Zeke.
Zeke, Boo, Avova,
It's not-
and Mixwell.
like what is that roster, man?
It's
Like
just
that's like
I like Avova. Avova's a great player.
yeah, sure, but then you have a guy that has been
He's a good
off and off
player.
teams. You've had someone that's like kind of been trying to find their role and hasn't been like insanely successful in any of the roles they've been playing. You have someone that's been pretty decent on like an Oglu with Boo and like I don't know. I feel like this is if you're being nice to them, there should be a decent B tier. You're being nice to them.
I'm not being
Well,
nice.
I'm
to
not
them.
know,
here
when
to
you
be
do-
nice. Put him in D.
I'm trying to make the fan base.
No, you can't take him to D.
God.
Put him
Can't
in
take him to
D.
D. Can't take him to D.
No, no,
Really
no,
though,
no, no, no.
I think if you look at B, even just in regard to firepower, like how they stack up against EG, dude, I think EG's got more heavy hitters than them.
Yes,
Like,
I think Crew would beat them.
Okay, fuck it, do it.
Yeah.
Okay, put him behind Crew. Put him behind Crew. Why not? Vamos. Let's go.
I'm saying I opened up the
I don't
VLR
care if
page.
people are
I
mad.
looked at it. I only recognized one player name. They're D tier.
all right, Team Liquid, A somewhere, Safe, Yampy, Soulcast, Redgar, and Nats.
I mean, that's that. I mean, honestly, that's like
I actually like that team.
A.
that's a pretty
but
fucking good roster.
Where?
I think it's
They also technically have Dimasek, right, as like a sixth man potentially.
Do they? I mean, that would be a good 6-man.
They still have him on the roster, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
I think-
according to the spreadsheet, yes.
I think
Yeah.
they would be on par with a team like Zeta Division. Do you think you'd agree with that?
I think
That's where
better.
I put them.
Really?
Because
You think
got-
adding Safe, Redgar, and Nats?
Safe's a
doesn't make
fucking
him better than
animal. Okay, don't disrespect
Yeah.
Safe. Put some respect on his name. That,
No,
that
but the
man
point being
a
is like
animal.
that's what I'm saying. You don't think adding them
Yeah.
those three doesn't put them like of decent head and shoulders above
That's
Zeta
so
Division
good.
potentially?
Don't make me go for the fucking A tier
Oh,
rant
okay,
again.
okay.
It's still
okay,
good, but they're an A tier.
Okay, oh my, he's
tier's good.
I will fucking get a flight to
Ooh.
Florida.
A tier's good.
oh there. Okay.
I like all of the players. I just don't have much faith in Team Liquid as an organization, so I would say B.
Damn.
Dude, there's no way, bro.
B
There's
no
no-
B is off.
way.
You would dare
I think
place them
that's
next to
good.
EG.
Where
You
were
would
they?
dare.
Where did we put them?
Wait, Kurt,
No,
pull it up again.
A's a fair
Hold
shout
on.
based on the
I
players.
think that's good. Where you just had it, Kurt. I think I like this roster. The Giants roster is cool. I like the Liquid one more. I think they'll be better than Zeta. But when you start looking ahead, there like Leviatán, Koi, NRG, Paper X, Loud. I like those teams more.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
perfect
Sure,
spot.
fair.
I mean, that's good.
That's
I
fair.
think that's the
That's
perfect
fair,
spot. Vitality. They have Mulsey, Cinder, Bone Cold, Twistin, and Destrian.
Okay, this is like I mean this is
This is beyond my sphere of knowledge.
Yeah, we're getting into. We have to go into the
I
ancient
just don't
EMEA
watch
text.
tier 2 EU. I don't.
Put them in S.
Put him right below.
No.
Right in between.
They're
D
fighting.
and G
They're
and-
fighting for a C and D spot here.
I
This
think-
team's fighting for a C and D spot.
I think
Around here.
they should be on par with teams like T1 and Gen.G. Because they're playing in my opinion, EMEA is going to be the more competitive region, the most competitive region, I think, in terms of the teams. I think they're going to be playing in a competitive region, and I think that the talent that they've got on their team existing right now, I think has the potential to be like, if you ported that team and put them in APAC, I think that they would be aiming for top 4 in APAC.
Yeah, but literally like 4 of the APAC teams are trolling.
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
mean, that's
I
what
don't
I'm
know,
saying.
like, I mean,
so put them, so like there, I think putting them on par with teams like T1 Gen.G who are building, but slightly below. I think this is.
I think you're
What-
right.
can-
I think
remind
you're
me
right.
of this roster.
They've got to be
Is that on
Carmine
the spreadsheet?
They got
It's on my
Mulsi,
spread.
Sender,
Wait,
Bone Cold, Twist, and Destrian.
There's no way.
Dude, this is the problem.
There's
Dude,
no way.
I don't even know.
This team. I am. Bala is currently molding over this team, and you want to put him. They would have put them like, oh yeah, like they're pretty good. Like they're like, no,
Twist is a decent talent. Okay.
This team
Dude,
is.
they-
I think this
No,
team is
dude.
at best competing.
Yeah, they
it's
can't-
at best competing with the EG and Talons at best.
Yeah, dude, they're not beating.
Dude, fucking
Furia.
call
They're
me up
not
when they're
beating-
making playoffs.
They're not making. Dude,
Call me
they're
up when
not-
I'm Vitality's
I'm gonna call you up when
Call
Loud's
me up when
beating
they're making
C9.
playoffs,
I'm
fam.
gonna call you when Loud's beating C9.
Call
That's what
me
I'm
up
gonna
when
call you. I'm
they're
gonna call you
making
right after that
playoffs,
one.
huh?
I'm gonna call you then.
They're not beating Furia. They're not beating.
Listen,
Carmine
I'm
Corp.
giving up
They're
this argument
not
'cause
beating EG. They're not.
Tier
beating-
lists suck.
Are they even beating Heretics? I don't. Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe
probably
you just
Heretics.
suck at making them, huh? Maybe that's.
Dude, that's fine. That's fine, Kurt. That's all fine with me. All right.
I'll live with
BBL,
that,
they've
yeah.
got a new logo. They've gone minimalism.
Nice.
Sweet. Yeah, that's
It's a
Kushner,
bunch of
Brave, Turco,
mountains and
Aslan,
shit.
AIM DDL. I literally don't know.
Do we put this over maybe football list? I honestly,
Yes,
I'm tempted.
I think you put them above
I'm
footballers. Aslan, I like. Kushner, I like.
Yeah.
Good team, kind of. Fucking.
I'm gonna.
I
I'm
think
gonna say something
middle C makes
crazy.
sense, I
I'm gonna
think.
say something crazy here. This is like
Okay.
you're not gonna like this one. I'm almost tempted to put BBL above Vitality. I'm almost tempted.
No, dude.
Brendan, what is it about Vitality?
I like Bone Cold.
You just like the.
feel
You just like.
like
I almost think BBL should be above Vitality. But
No, dude. Oh my god.
But no. But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Dude, that
I'm
team-
gonna. You're listen. You're about to throw a tantrum. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna put him back below. We're gonna put him back below. I don't really have like necessarily super strong feelings. I'm like ooh eyeballing. But I'm gonna give this to you, Bren, as a gift, as a little treat.
Oh, thank
I'm gonna
you.
let BBL
Yeah, no,
be below
great. Yeah,
Vitality.
All right. 100 Thieves.
D.
I'm going A tier.
I think
They
that
got
team
rid of
should be-
Sean. It's over.
I think they should be top 8.
They're A tier. Not top of it.
Yes.
How do they get to go above
Yes.
Loud?
No.
That team has spent.
They've overtaken Loud and Paperex
Yes.
already.
Yes, they got an upgrade in the form of Cryo. Listen, Will's a great player, but Cryo coming in, Cryo's a fucking fantastic
I mean,
player.
you're right.
Fantastic
You're
player.
right.
And the system,
But Brendan's being top
they
5
just need
killed by
experience.
his,
This
his
team
top
is
20
going to
player
fucking
list.
there,
fry
right there.
next year.
No, to the
the
left.
team is.
No, Kurt's trolling you right now.
No, I'm not trolling.
Actually, I think you're right.
No, Kurt's trolling you. Kurt's trolling you.
They should be top 8.
No,
No.
I'll give you a consideration for like below Paperex. I'll give you a consideration for that. I don't think you can justifiably say they somehow
Call
go
me up
above
when
the
100 Thieves
Loud
are
and
winning it all.
Paperex. I'm
The
gonna
grand
call you
finals of
so
Brazil,
much,
100
Brent.
Thieves
I'm gonna
versus
wait till you're about to go to
Call me up when
sleep.
100
I'm
Thieves of
calling you.
Vitality are in the fucking finals
I'm
in Sao
fucking
Paulo.
calling you.
Call me up.
I would slide them over maybe one more behind the optic core. No, not forward,
You
backward.
can't.
Oh, behind energy?
They're not-
No,
they're not.
No,
It's the
no.
optic
You can't go
core
that.
with
No.
artists. That's.
But also they have song.
Fucking
No.
Yes,
100 Thieves is
yes,
above
they're
NRG.
loving
100 Thieves
this.
above NRG. 100 Thieves I
They're
think should go
on the
NRG.
upward trajectory. They're headed upwards. Graph up emoji, dude. But they're not that. They're not yet. They could get there, but not yet. But they're getting there.
I'm actually agreeing with Brandon. I think 100 Thieves should be above NRG.
above NRG, but
I mean, it should be top A.
I mean,
I think
No, I don't agree with that. I think that's crack cocaine.
2022 was the year of those players getting experience on the big stage,
Dude,
experience they desperately fucking needed. They didn't finish strong at champs, but no, dude, they are going
some of
to.
those teams
This
in there
team,
are
I'm
fire,
fucking.
man.
I'm buying. Dude. Listen, the stock in 100 Thieves is fucking inflated because they're like Tesla. 100 Thieves are like the fucking Tesla of the Valorant ecosystem. Like their fan base just fucking they're inflating it all the time. But honest to God, I think next year should be the year of 100 Thieves.
I'm okay with where they were at there.
You're saying they're better than Koi as well.
Yep.
Dude, that Koi team is pretty nice.
They're over here. They're right here. This is the spot for
Listen,
them. I'm telling you. Right there.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that. I actually do have some belief in 100 Thieves with the addition of Cryo, but at the same time, like I have not been hoodie pilled like Bryn. So I have not been hoodie pilled. So I haven't.
I think, Kurt, you could move him over one more spot. I think I like it more than the new Liquid team.
Bro, they have an existing core that, are we all in agreement that the only thing they needed was experience?
Well,
They're all inexperienced players.
They needed experience and they needed more firepower, and they got both.
Yes.
But also, these other teams are fucking fire, too.
They also didn't really get it, though. They got really unlucky with COVID.
True.
Yeah,
They did.
yeah, but I mean, I guess, also, though, not necessarily just stage experience. They just need more time playing together, like playing professionally,
Yeah.
like, period.
I think
Some of the
LAN
guys,
experience
'cause they're
would have
just
been
new.
super
Like, 'cause
important for
Bang
them,
and
though.
Cellar just have never played at that high of a level. Or Derek, for that matter. So, I think this is fair. I could see
I'll
them
settle on
exceeding
that.
it.
I can live with that.
I think it's fair, but they could definitely
Yeah, that's
exceed
fair.
it. It's
Yeah. I'm not gonna. I mean, if that's where we want to go, like I said, I think they could go a little bit higher. But if that's where we're feeling like, if that's feeling fair, then like, oh, you know what? I'll go. Yeah.
But
I just want everybody. I want everybody to know right now. I don't want my name signed on this.
So
the
far,
fucking-
Bryn, you've been fighting
I
against
do.
the loud. You've been fighting against loud going S tier. You want 100 Thieves to go above like loud or around loud, and then you're like asking for Vitality to be better than like fucking
Yeah.
like the new
When this
T1.
gets fucking posted to the 30-year-olds on Reddit, and they're clamoring for us to get fired. Firstly, fuck off. Secondly, I don't want my name attached to it. I know, but let's continue.
Look,
the 30-year-olds.
top of S, top of
dude,
S,
if you're
top of S or
30
Sentinels.
plus,
Yeah, thank you.
watch out.
Thank
There's
you.
nothing
Thank
wrong
you,
with
top
being
of S.
30.
Sentinels.
All right, that seems right. That seems right.
I mean,
That seems good to me.
this team is
No.
fucking madness. They've got to be at least top A area, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
That's
you
where I
have
would put
Zekid
them.
and Saucy Pancata.
I would put them
Yeah.
below 100 Thieves, but that's because I would have had 100 Thieves at the top of A.
I mean,
Okay, does this team deserve to go above loud though? Potentially, I would say. I mean, it's possible with Zekid's addition to this team.
I think you guys are being clout pilled right now, man. I think
We're
okay.
being clout pilled. We're being
Sassy
clout
Pancata
pilled.
Zekin, good players to build around. Like Don as well
what's
as the coach.
But don't go on.
I take issue with I don't have a lot of faith in Def as an individual in this team, I think. Because Def's numbers, like, they were
Good
hit
thing
or
there's
miss.
5 other
Obviously,
people.
it's not all about the fucking numbers. It's about how you play in the team environment. It's about how you call. But
This
the IGLing was split down the middle with Xset seeing their biggest heights. If Def has to return to form with him taking up IGLing, I don't think that will be the case with Sassy in the team. I think this team has some ways to go before they could be considered top of A tier.
Yeah, I actually I'd agree with you though. I don't think they actually should automatically be top of A tier, 100%. So
put them. I'd put them. If you want to put them this high up, put them right behind Paper X. They
That
can
seems
move
a
up
little
when they
crazy,
can move
right?
up when they accomplish something in the modern age.
I'm okay with that, but it's also.
I mean, but
crazy.
NRG still has the optic core and artists. You know, like it seems a little crazy.
That's true. Put them behind Energy, and then actually put them behind KOI,
Dude,
and put them
they're not
behind
behind
100
Koi.
Thieves.
They're not
Put him
behind.
put him between detonation and RRQ. Ship it. Tweet it.
I don't.
Honestly, I'm kind of. I feel like I kind of would give 100 Thieves an edge over Sentinels, maybe. With their current adding cryo, their roster stayed the same.
Yeah.
Upward trajectory. Like,
Thank you.
I'd kind of give them that. I just don't think 100 Thieves should go any higher.
I think 100 Thieves should be
So-
higher than Koi.
No.
Dude, that Koi team.
I think it should be higher than NRG.
I think we just call it here because it's 5:10 in the morning and I have to be up at 9:30.
I mean, yeah.
But also put DRX in first.
This list is awful.
I don't like Fnatic.
Ship it and clip it. Let's put the list
But
out.
it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's
None
awful.
of us are
I'm with
happy.
Bren.
It's perfect.
None of us are happy, and it's time to put it out there.
No one's
DRX should
happy,
be
and
first.
that's all.
This
that
is good. That's how I like it. That's how I like it. Let's
That's
do it.
all that
Let's do it.
matters. Anyone satisfied? No.
Nope.
Great.
No.
Oh, we've done our job.
Can we do the Plat chat guarantee that none of us are satisfied?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we're
Is it
taking the
doing
screen. Oh.
Shit. Okay. Is that it? It's wise.
Yeah.
Seth, what time is it?
5:10.
Hell yeah. All right, weekly award. Let's wrap this shit up. Oh. I didn't see you there. It's time for Wyatt's weekly award. And dinner. All right. The weekly award. I will spare no fucking time here because Seth
It's late.
deserves to get some sleep.
No, take your time. This is the most important
Why do we have to
part of the show.
Manscaped?
I don't know.
I have no idea why that pops up sometimes.
It's the fucking the ghost of Manscaped. They don't even sponsor us.
Yeah.
Don't go to that Manscaped link.
They
Instead,
fucking infect us with a root
some
kit.
months.
We can't get rid of them.
it's stuck.
There we
nice. I think you picked. Hell yeah. Okay. Weekly award. This week, the weekly award is going to Daiki, who is playing a fucking beast Sova game in the finals for the Brazil Game Changers qualifier to the international event. She popped the hell off on Ascent, which was like a crucial map. They made a full BO5 series sweep back, and it started with an OT win on Ascent. And she went crazy on that map, and then had like a sick 3K in the final round to get the W. And Team Liquid have qualified for the International Game Changers event, which is in like a couple weeks, November 12th or so.
We were gonna talk
So-
about it in this episode, but also it's a 3-hour episode without those topics, so we'll save it for next week.
Yep. So we'll talk about that a bit next week. But yeah, weekly award winner. Congrats on qualifying. Sick performance. Yeah, Seth, thank you for joining us despite the lateness of the hour.
Yeah.
And
anything for you boys.
Thank you, Seth.
thanks,
Appreciate it.
Seth. All right. We will see you guys next week for episode 112. Make sure to what?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. And make sure to leave a comment below the video. Let us know which player you think is got snubbed for 2023. Who didn't make it that you want to see in the franchise league? Let us know in the YouTube comment section below the video. Thank you all for listening and watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.